basketball game.
No kidding. No kidding. Well, they didn't lose a game in the tournament last year. So have you already made your picks?
Yeah, I got my final four.
You don't have to tell us who it is
I don't
yet.
know if C Bracket has his or you've done yours. I know we're going to get a little thing going on where we're each going to pick a team in a region and just kind of do it that way for tacos like we do. So that's going to be what I'm looking forward to.
Well, don't release your final four or any of the picks until we have ours done, okay? So because you don't need to
There's
let
time,
us know any of this.
plenty
stuff
of
here.
time, plenty of time.
Well, we got the first four starts. Isn't that tomorrow?
I didn't even look. I don't even know who's playing. Like I told you, those games do not count in any way.
They don't count in many people's brackets, but that would really be it would be a tiebreaker in some cases. Instead of this thing about the final score in the championship game, you realize that the first four could actually be a halfway decent tiebreaker. No, the first four starts today. You got basketball games today where some seasons will be ending. Isn't that something? They get announced on Sunday. How quickly do these teams just have to rush to pack a bag, get the travel plans taken care of, and get over to Dayton? At least they know the city that they're playing in. Wagner and Howard are the first game. A couple of 16 seeds, of course. That means they're conference champions that get the opportunity to play in a first four. And then Colorado State and Virginia at 8:10. First four, all on True TV, so we can find those that channel somehow later on today. I know you're not a fan of the conference champions having to play in this first four. Colorado State and Virginia, that would be the two of the last teams that made it in on at-large bids, but I guess we won't. I don't know many people that worry about that as far as the brackets are concerned. That would be the nitty gritty. Being a little bit choosy about it, I guess. So the tournament starts today, Matt. Nobody really celebrates it the same way like they will when the games really do begin. When the second round, well, no, there was a time where they would call the first four the first round, right? And then the round of 64 was like the second round. So it's like a whole bunch of buys. This is a negative buy. This is what you get here. You get a minus buy. It's by playing an extra game.
It's like your senior year when you played on the junior varsity team. It's like a couple of show ponies out there,
Make them feel really good about themselves.
Remember that only guys you have a 6-quarter allotment, though, so you can't play too much in this first game because you got to play for the varsity here at 8 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. Well, they all have enough players dressed and ready to go for playing. Yesterday was a weird day for me. For one, being on the radio broadcast for the women's basketball team, and then it kind of happened real time here on the show, where I think I was talking about Talia Scott and just expecting that she would hit the portal, and then the text started coming in. I think I'd missed her announcement on Twitter by 15 or 20 minutes. She is someone who would have been. I think she would have been the SEC Freshman of the Year had she played. More than the games that she did play, but had the back injury that cost her, I think it was about a month, if not a little more. And then the serious family emergency that was over a month ago. So she made the all-freshman team. And then as I started talking about Sailor Poffenbarger and wondering what the situation was with her, came out later on in the afternoon that she's entered the transfer portal too. So I mean, it's the first day it was open, Matt. Just should have expected it, right? That if you're going to get in the portal, you're going to do it. You're going to do it yesterday. Though I guess there were some announcements from the men's basketball team on Friday and Saturday. It was yesterday that the women's team lost two of their players. One of them's no surprise. Sailor Poffenbarger felt like a surprise, though.
Well, you hope, that family emergency, that everybody's okay. I wonder, you kind of, she had to leave the team. I hope everybody's fine. Yeah, it's wild that they leave right away. So they probably already, you think that those two ladies, they're like Rocket Sanders and KJ Jefferson, right? Like they're going to find work. They probably already, they probably already know where they're going.
Sailor finished, I don't know if she was second or third in the nation in rebounding.
Didn't she have 22 rebounds in a game or something?
She had 21? 2 games with 20 rebounds or more this year. Yeah. And a couple games where there were over 20 points, and she, showed that stroke. There's no doubt that she and Talia will be hot commodities on that in women's basketball transfer portal. Heck, they may end up playing for other places in the SEC for all I know. And the thing about Talia is no surprise Because, I mean, it's been a month. We've heard nothing. She was not at school. She was not at Arkansas while she was, while this serious family emergency was going down. The Poffenbarger thing, she kept playing. I mean, Saylor played hurt almost all year, various leg injuries. And then there was the concussion that made her sit in the SEC tournament game against Auburn. So there was still the feeling that, I mean, it wasn't the feeling. She was part of the team still. She was still out there practicing and playing hard when she was on the court. And so that's where it comes as a surprise now, because this is a team that's playing in the postseason. We got a game at Tulsa at 6:30 on Thursday in the inaugural WBIT. So this feels like something we talked a bit about yesterday, Matt. And I don't know if there have been any players for men's or women's college basketball whose teams are in the fields of 68, whether or not they have announced that they're transferring or not. But this feels like one of those opt-outs for a low-level bowl game. Losing, it's to be like losing your starting running back, before you go play in the Independence Bowl or something. You know what I mean? I guess we're sort of we're used to this in football, but not as used to it in basketball, where players just decide, I've had enough. This tournament that you're going to play in is not for me. This team is not for me any longer. I enjoyed my time here, but I'm moving on. So that made it feel a little bit different from, I guess, what I'm used to in basketball, because it felt more like football, Matt.
It happens quick. I don't know what the rules are as far as when you can contact these ladies, when the portal opens, if you're supposed to wait till it opens. But, man, it does. It feels like everything happens quick. These ladies and the guys, they're just here for a cup of coffee, and then it's almost like a tryout for a better team. It's almost like if you're at Arkansas, I don't know if the NIL meets the standards of other NILs, but it's you go there, and if you have success, well, then you're just going to go up to a better team, to a team that has more money.
I think.
How do you keep ladies, Phil? How do you keep these kids these
right.
days if you can't pay them, right? I mean, that's what it comes down to eventually.
Look, I've heard there've been talk out there, and I think Alyssa Orange has even said it on this program when she's joined us before, and we're planning on Alyssa coming on the show in about an hour today, that there is no NIL money, at least coming from whatever Arkansas One was or now Arkansas Edge, to women's basketball. So if that's the case, I just can't imagine that you can compete in the SEC without spending a single dollar on players. That's just the reality of the situation now. If that is the case, then, what are we doing here? What are we doing? What's the point of having the program? We're going to raise all this money, and then it just goes to whatever the other sports are. Because I don't think that's necessarily happening with some. Well, look, I can't speak for all of the programs in the SEC, but look, I'm going to tell South Carolina is paying players. LSU is paying players. Tennessee is doing the same thing. I think Ole Miss is doing the same thing. I think there are plenty of them that are. I'm just talking in the SEC. Yeah, Iowa is too. So it's and now you're going into this tournament. I mean, that's all independent of this tournament that they're playing in now. 8 players down essentially what could have been 4 starters from the start of the season, which is amazing to think about. Jersey Wolfenbarger, and who knows where she goes, right? Like, that's the next thing. Where does Jersey actually go play somewhere? Jersey got in the portal. Well, couldn't have until Monday, but she already knew she was going into the portal before they even played a game this year. Sasha had to retire because of gastroparesis. That's not on any problem with the program or her teammates or anything. That's just, a physical ailment that it won as far as what she was able to do with basketball, and that's a tragedy. And then there's Scott, and then there's Saylor, which is players that were building blocks of this team this year and in the future, because Saylor's got 2 more years left. Talia's got 3 years left. They were building blocks for this year and the future, and now they're gone. And now you go play in this tournament with 8 players and a team that looks like it's completely different than it did even 2 months ago. Andy in Mountain Home texts in, and he's right about this. He said, I don't know if I'd say a moron, because whatever moron approved opening up the portal right before the tournament should be fired and arrested. Well, they're doing the exact same thing that happened in football. The exact same thing. The baseball portal opens after the regular season's over too, because look, I mean, how long do these tournaments last? How long does bowl season last? Does everybody just have to sit there for a month and hold on to what the possibilities could be while just a small percentage of teams are out there playing? That's why they opened the portal when they did, because it's the regular season. There are more players that aren't playing than players that are. We really want them all to wait a month? Look, I'm just telling you what I think why they're putting this portal opening when they did. Anyway, I feel like we should reinstitute the whole idea about not saying the word portal anymore. We'll talk about that in just a moment on halftime.
Arkansas, will you make the Final Four? In them wacky uniforms with the pigs with horns. And did I say you were playing a game today with the home crowd yelling, woo, pig suey? Hey, those pigs may be hogs, but they're kosher to me. Capiche?
Listen to every Razorback basketball game right here on ESPN 95.3.
Arkansas wins the national championship.
0.9% financing on a new 23 or 24 GMC Sierra at Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Save up to $6,500 off with factory rebates on a new GMC Sierra truck, or take $3,750 off with 0.9% financing or 2.9% financing for up to 72 months on Sierra 1500s. 6.2-liter engine excluded. Conquer with confidence in a new GMC Sierra from Harry Robinson Buick GMC. We are professional grade. Harry Robinson Buick GMC. Exit 11 off of I-540 in Fort Smith.
With everyday low prices on top brands, locally owned Jaeger's Ace Hardware is committed to offering real service with real savings. Get these red-hot buys at any of our 4 locations. Ace 2-gallon home and garden sprayer only $17.99 with your Ace Rewards card. Flour and vegetable seeds, 25 cents each. Save $20 to $60 on Milwaukee, Craftsman, and DeWalt power tools with your Ace Rewards card. And check out our huge selection of Big Green Egg, Traeger, and Blackstone grills at everyday low prices. Find us online at JaegersHardware.com.
Are you tired of the overcrowded fitness centers? Would you like a fitness option where you can actually work out? Then let's hang out. The Hangout is Fort Smith's newest fitness facility. It has an 8,000 square foot gym, indoor tennis, pickleball, and basketball with more sports coming soon. The Hangout offers group and individual training in the gym and boasts 3 active tennis pros to help you grow your game. Stop in today at 5400 Gary Street or thehangoutfs.com for more information. Be a part of something different. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
Hey, I'm Hagen Smith. As an Arkansas pitcher, I know the importance of precision, skill, and keeping cool under pressure. That's why for your home, choosing the right team for heating and air is just as important. You want professionals who bring their best game. When it comes to staying comfortable, I rely on Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. They'll send pros to take care of your home, too. Sign up now for Pascal's Plan Protection membership before the summer heat for only $8.99 a month. Never pay for a tune-up again when they're included in your membership. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
And we're back with the action. Coke Zero Sugar might be the best Coke ever.
That's right, Jim. With an irresistible taste and zero sugar, Coke Zero Sugar is a must-try for any sports fan. So make sure you... Wait, Jim, I didn't mean try it right now. We're still on the air.
Best Coke ever? Take a taste, Jen.
Really?
No, not right now, Jen. We got a game to call.
This year, upgrade your home to safe, convenient, and energy-efficient natural gas from Arkansas Oklahoma Gas. Skip the prepayments and delivery issues, and enjoy the peace of mind knowing that your natural gas is always there when you need it. And we can help make converting your home easy and affordable too. For heating, hot water, cooking, and more, it's time to upgrade to safe, reliable, and energy-efficient natural gas. Visit AOGC.com to learn more. AOG, energy for life.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics. Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call your local Shelter agent, Chris Dooley, at 479-646-6792.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Find Halftime on 99.5 in Northwest Arkansas, 95.3 in Fort Smith and the River Valley, 96.3 in Hot Springs and Central Arkansas, 104.3 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
We can have all the opinions about the portal and players transferring and when they choose to transfer and the calendar that this all takes place in. But I do think that there's thought process behind this. And you know, Greg texted in. He wants things to go back the way that they were. I'm reading his text, and I know Greg. I see him at Baum, and he calls in a lot. And I don't blame you for wanting to go back to the way that it was, but you know full well that's never happening again. The world that college sports operated inside 5 years ago is so different now. It's never going back to the way that it was. I'm not here to tell you that it is going to stay as chaotic as it is right now, because at some point there will be guidelines that whatever organization member schools belong to follow. And maybe there'll be some real penalties doled out for breaking rules or whatever the rules are. But I think what we have now is chaos. And going back to the way that it was, as nostalgic and nice as it seems, just understand it ain't ever going to happen. You're not ever getting back to the place where the first time that you transfer, you get to sit. And you're probably not getting to the place where if you transfer a second time, you got to sit. We just have to get used to the roster churn. And maybe that's part of why, people got used to, look at the craziness of NFL free agency right now. I mean, the last week has just been bonkers. That was not what things were like in the 80s at all. We got used to it. Might not have liked it at first. You got used to it. It didn't go back to the way that it was. You got used to it. And you still watch in a lot of cases. So, yeah, can be nostalgic about these things, but things just don't go back to the way that they were normally about anything.
They're losing the student part of it, that's for sure. Yeah, the kids can make a lot of money in college. A lot of them, it's the most money that they'll make. Or some of the the lady players, they said they make more money in college than they'll make in the WNBA. I thought there used to be a student aspect of it that, hey, I get transferring if your coach leaves. As long as you're on track to graduate, as long as you're keeping up with your studies, there's no student part of it. It's if you want to go to school, it's like an option almost. It's like, hey, if you want to go to school, who was the quarterback from Ohio State that said, I didn't come here to go to class, I came here to play football? Who was that? It was Cardell. Was it
Cardell Jones?
Was that who that was?
I think that's who it was.
Yeah. It's like, but I think there's a lot of guys like that. They don't care to go to class. They're there to play whatever sport that is. But then I think there's still 80%. I think there's a lot of kids that, man, this is awesome to get a full scholarship and to get a degree and have all that paid for. And I think they really do care about it, but I don't know what the percentage is anymore.
Well, and also, so then maybe there is a little bit of like an illogical thought of a portal opening in the middle of a semester. If we're going to look at things like a student, spring break is right now. So now the portal opens for 45 days. It makes more sense when the portal opens for football season, because that's during a break. Now it's the middle of a semester. You're worrying about where it is you're going to go to school next year while you're still going to classes at the place that you stop playing.
You're worried about getting money and moving your parents to where you go. I mean, it's a totally different vibe, I think, for some of these kids.
I thought I brought it up yesterday, and I don't remember which day it was this past weekend, after one of the baseball games at Baum, that Dave Van Horn in his presser used the term "chose to go to school here." That shows you a coach that's from a different era, right? If he's going to talk about, this person chose to go to school here. He didn't say chose to play here. He didn't say chose to develop his professional capabilities to be a baseball player here. He said came to school here. I'm just not sure if a lot of coaches even look at it that way anymore, much less the student athletes. Let's take a couple of phone calls. We got them on hold on the McClarty Daniel hotline if you want to get on. 877-377-6963. Rod in Fayetteville, first up. Hey, Rod, how are you?
What's going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to ask you guys a hypothetical. Let's say the Kremlin powers at the university have $15 million to spend on coaches and players next year at basketball. Would you rather pay Musselman $10 million and have $5 million to spend on players, or would you rather get an aggressive young coach and pay him $2 million and have $13 million to spend on players? Which way do you think gives you the best chance to put the best product on the court?
See, I mean, this ends up like a conversation like, well, I don't know if this is how anybody in professional leagues looks at it, because they've got so much resources.
Well, you got a cap where you look at it. Do we pay this running back this much money when we can get this one cheaper? It's still we don't know that. We don't know what the allotment is, though. You know, does the Edge for basketball have $5 million, or do they? You know, how competitive are they?
Are they really going to be spending 10? I mean, here's the other thing I would wonder: are you really? There's 15 players on a college basketball team.
Well,
are we really spending like almost $1 million per player?
No, it's only two guys are making the majority of the money. Same thing in basketball, same thing in the NFL. About you know, your top 7 players on a 53-man roster are making 80% of the money.
Well, the coach is the one who makes all the money now. As far as it was until a couple years ago. I don't know. I mean, I'd still trust how Muss builds a roster. I really do. He's just ended up kind of not putting a great roster together this year. But the track record should speak for itself. He's done it. He has literally done it every year of his coaching career except this one.
This was his Mike Tomlin. You know, this was his first losing season. Only Mike Tomlin still doesn't have a losing season. You know, this was his first losing season as a college coach.
He had a couple of 500 seasons, but that's not a losing season.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a losing season. It's like in the NHL. I remember the Penguins, I think, had a long unbeaten streak that included a bunch of ties. It's still an unbeaten streak. It's not a winning streak anymore, though.
It's like Thierry Henry and the Arsenal Gunners. They're called the Invincibles because they didn't lose, but they still had over 10 ties.
See? Let's take a phone call from Ryan in Hot Springs, who had a chance to meet at Baum Walker. That was on Sunday, right, Ryan? It's good to meet you and good to talk to you today. What's up?
Yes, sir, it was. You got to meet me and my wife. So that was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome moment. I got even something crazier than that, man. I did not know I had a tie to Will McIntyre. His mother was my 6th grade history teacher. So
it's a small
and how
world,
I found
Ryan.
that out.
It's a small world and a smaller state.
Well, you may not know this either. Do you remember the relief pitcher Trent Daniel?
Sure. No, I actually ran into. It's funny. I ran into Trent in. I think it was in one of those arcades in Little Rock. It just bumped into him there out of the blue. Yeah, I know Trent.
So we were actually classmates. We graduated together in 2008.
Again, small state, small world,
but
smaller
anyway,
state.
She come walking through, and I was like, "Hey, that's Miss McIntyre." So I stopped her, and she wasn't 100% sure, so I took my sunglasses off, and she recognized me immediately and had a nice long talk, whatever. And then I happened to look down, saw the Will pin on her shirt. I'm like, "Wait, is Will your son?" She's like, "Yes." She's like, "Yes, sir. I'm headed to the team prayer right now." Well, anyway, so that was a cool little reunion because she was one of my favorite teachers from school. But I just wanted to share that with you and just tell you how awesome it was to get to meet you, sir. And I hope y'all have a great day and go Hogs.
Thanks, Ryan. It was good to meet you too. Chrissy McIntyre is her name. I've known the McIntyres a long time. So I mean, I like watching Will pitch just because he's a good pitcher. But I've known that kid since he was like 2 years old, coming with his dad Madison to Travelers games when Madison worked for us as an official scorer or a data caster, and he kept talking about his son and how and as you saw the kid get older and older and all the travel ball and all the work that he put into it, and now he's like, you know, now he's one of the most important pitchers in the SEC. So I get a big kick out of that myself. Cabbage Head is next on the McLarty Daniel Hotline. Hey, Cabbage Head, how you doing?
Oh, good, guys. Phil, you've not found us any trapeze yet, I guess.
Which trapeze?
We were talking about a week and a half ago about some bumper music, a group called Trapeze out of England that came to Fort Smith a couple. Remember?
We'll get them on air for you today.
You told me what town they were from. I didn't have any idea. So I learned something from you. That's for sure.
Wikipedia is quite helpful when you don't have the Encyclopedia Britannica on your wall.
Listen, guys, I don't know how to put. I know the bottom line is the money. I know that's the root of all evil. It's the money, but I don't understand. I understand it because it is about money. But why can't they wait to pull these players after these playoffs and stuff? It looks like, man, they got all kinds of time to do this stuff. But I followed the girl Razorbacks, and, man, I love to watch them playing. Well, because of Poffenberger and the other girl, well, I watched the game where they both were out, and that was the sorriest game the Razorback girls has played. It was terrible. So now you're telling me when they play this game coming up that they're not – is the reason they do that is they pull them in the portal and they don't want them playing, afraid they'll get hurt? Or why don't they let them play the game and then do this if they lose?
No, but this isn't a decision made by whatever school Sailor is choosing to go to. This is her decision. This is her decision to not play in the tournament and nobody else's decision.
Jeez, I'll tell you, man, I enjoyed watching her play so much because you guys are right, man. She and everybody, she's so good, and the other girl is too. But why do they do it right? They just don't want to play another game. I know it's a lot of work for them. Is that they just don't want to play another game?
I don't have an answer for you. We'd have to ask her. I'm sure. I don't know if that chance will come. I know Mike will have some kind of a pre-game presser before the Tulsa game. The team travels tomorrow, so I'd assume it'd be sometime tomorrow. I'm sure he'll get asked about it. But yeah, I mean, why? Look. There are more teams that are not playing in the basketball postseason than teams that are. Are those players just supposed to sit around and wait for a month to start looking around and making their decisions? And the same with those teams. Like, they want to know what their roster is going to look like. So it's the end of the regular season when it's done. You know, and it's different than professional sports. I get that. The NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, they all have things that are much different than that because they do those things in the off season. But college sports is doing it they're doing it now. You know, you wait for the month in professional sports. You wait for a month and a half. But in college, they haven't done that. Maybe there's a way to change this. Cabbage Head, appreciate the phone call. Good to hear from you. We can take more calls. We can take more texts as we go throughout here on the McLarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. And I'm only telling you why I think they put the opening of the portal when they put it. You know, it's the same for baseball. After Selection Sunday, the portal opens the next day. And hey, you know, we did the same thing for football after the conference championships. So that's just how it's built in right now. More halftime in just a moment. Stay with us on this Tuesday.
Download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Live.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch, big old slab. C'est bon, Sakale.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite. White perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile device. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. And remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yeah.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line podcast network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Are you in need of a good power washing? Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash is a full-service pressure washing corporation with over 15 years of experience in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more. We remove dirt, grime, and more to give you that sparkle you desire. Call me at 479-763-5561. We're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash, one call, cleans it all.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is
Bells and Van Buren.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway. Looking for adventure. And whatever comes our way. Yeah, I'm gonna make it happen. Take the world in a loving embrace. All of the guns and hearts and explode into space. I like smoking lightning. Heavy metal thunder. Racing with the wind. And the feeling that I'm under. Yeah, I'm gonna make it happen. Take the world in a loving embrace. All of the guns and guns and explode into space. Like a cruel nature's child. We were born to be wild. We can climb so high. I never wanna die.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Yeah, we're not doing our own bracket. We're doing sort of like a different thing here on Halftime. We're doing a bracket on hitthatline.com that you can also check and see if you can do any better than Matt or Derek or Zach or me. I'll guarantee you'll do better than me. Hitthatline.com bracket challenge is presented by On the Mark Sports Bar and Grill in Fayetteville, 810 Billiards and Bowling in Fort Smith, and Shelter Insurance agent Chris Dooley. Got to get those picks in before the start of the real first round at hitthatline.com. But we're doing this a different way.
Yeah, we drew numbers, and you'll be picking first in the East region. C bracket will be picking first in the South region. He'll follow you in picks. The Wolf will be picking first in the the West region, and I will be picking first in the Midwest. So that's the way we will go, and we'll each choose one team out of the East, West, South, and Midwest. So we'll all have 4 teams, and we'll just kind of, so everybody gets to choose first in one of these divisions, and everybody will choose last in one of these, and then we'll winner or loser buys tacos. That's just how it is. That's all we. I don't like betting. I'm not really a gambling type of person.
You just
but
go for the food.
The fellowship, and I like to break tacos with my buddies. You know, what are you going to do?
Well, then they'd have to be hard tacos if we're breaking them.
Right. Fair enough.
Fair enough. Break. Let's take a call from Juwan in Fayetteville. Hey, Juwan, on the McClarty Daniel Hotline. Good to hear from you. What's up?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing?
Great.
Man, I'm just chiming in on the NIL conversation, man, because I'm looking at it as ruining the game. And it's not really affecting basketball as much to me as it is more so football. With some of the kids, they'll transfer, for example, like if you transfer to California high school, you can start getting paid as soon as you're in high school. I've been seeing like a flurry of kids going out to California since Nico Iamale got that first check his senior year, and they see everybody can get paid as a senior in California. Everybody's going to different places like that, and that's more so affected everybody's decision. And I agree with something Matt said yesterday. These kids, they just don't like to compete. How could you get a bid to a tournament and not want to go play with your guys that you've been practicing with, building camaraderie with? It just doesn't make sense. Even in a bowl game, whenever I watched LSU and Wisconsin, Jaden Daniels didn't play in the game, but he was standing on the sideline with a necklace with all the diamonds on it. Why would you even show up to the game?
He wasn't playing because he had enough on tape. He was getting ready for the draft. I mean, it makes sense.
Right. I understand that. But whenever Alabama played Kansas State, Bryce Young suited up with his guys.
Yeah, I mean,
Will Anderson suited up with his guys too and went on the field for one last time with the guys. They knew they didn't need those guys to beat Kansas State, but they still went out there and did it for the love of the game. Even Coach Saban told those guys not to play, and they still went out there and played with their guys. So I just think that's the competitive spirit.
For each of those guys, it's an individual decision as to how they view the future of their career. I look at football differently than I do basketball in terms of you're getting hurt, and we can all point to. I think, what was his name? Kevin Ware, who got that terrible injury with Louisville in the tournament.
Kenyon Martin hurt himself years ago, if you remember that. Yeah.
But for a tournament like the WBIT or like a team that's going to the NIT, I would agree with you at the same time. I mean, you've put in the time throughout the entire season, and you've been a team together throughout that time. So why are we going into the portal right now? You could go in once that tournament's over. If it's a one and done or 2 and out, if you lose the first game, it costs you 4 days. If you lose the second game, then you're in the portal a week later. But maybe you're right. I mean, they just don't want to compete. But it's also, I mean, it's not the same reason for everybody. I think everybody's got their own individual reason for why it is that they're doing what they are, whether it's stick around and play for that team or whether it's to not play for that team. I can't think for Sailor, but it's just an odd thing because I've watched her play every game but one this year, been at a bunch of the practices. She practices hard. Obviously, she knows the importance that she has on that team. So that's just one thing that felt quite odd that she decided to leave when she did. But maybe her mind was made up a while back.
Or maybe Kim Mulkey's thinking about next season.
Yeah. I mean, we'd be stupid to think that there's no sort of tampering going on here, that there's some sort of text being thrown around or phone calls being thrown around. Somebody in the SEC is going to want her, no doubt. Or now just think out loud. She's from Maryland. Maybe she wants to go closer to home. I don't know. Her brother just transferred to play quarterback at Miami. I think he'll have to compete for the job. He was a big deal at FCS Albany. Maybe she wants to go to Florida to be closer to her brother. I don't know. We can't get in her mind and know why she's made this choice.
I'm always thinking like that too, Phil. I've been thinking more so along this line for the Razorbacks, and then I'll get off here. I've been thinking, and this is how NIL has worked on my brain. we better get some kind of money ready for Jalen Braxton, because that guy, I think this season right here, he's going to really, really put himself in the conversation for one of the best defensive backs in the whole country coming back for his sophomore season. I have a magnifying glass on this spring practice and everything that's going on. He's the best defensive back on the team, hands down. Tell me what you guys think. Y'all have a good evening.
Oh, I think he's got a lot to work with. There's no doubt. I would expect he'll be one of the 2 starters at corner over this once we get there. But hey, they're trying to raise money. I can see it. I mean, they're making appeals on social media, their phone calls, their emails. Kind of doing what they can in order to raise money to, pay him, I would assume, or whomever else. But if you're gonna raise money, this is the thing. It's like I wonder how much of the NIL dollar, filters to women's basketball in this case. Like that's part of the conversation of this. Yes, of course, most of the money's going to football. There'll be a big chunk that goes to men's basketball, some that goes to baseball, maybe some other sports. But I don't think women's basketball has much to work with, if at all, in terms of NIL dollars coming from the university or from the athletics department or from Arkansas Edge or One, what it was before. So, I mean, I guess it feels like almost a choice. Are we going to compete in the SEC, or are we not going to compete in the SEC? Or are we going to, are we making choices as to where, it's not an unlimited amount of money, where this money goes? How much of it's going to football? How much of it's going here and there? Is it just the leftovers, pennies that go to women's basketball? I think we'd be also naive to think that this does not have some dollar figure stuff attached to it. Joanne, I always appreciate your phone calls. Taking a magnifying glass to Jalen Braxton. I think he might be right, too, about him.
Stud, you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I think he could be very good for football moving forward. Aaron asked, why does baseball and softball not struggle with successful seasons like football and basketball? Like, I think baseball has some NIL money. In fact, I'm pretty sure of that. I can't tell you why that they do. I don't know the situation with softball money and NIL dollars and how that compares, how softball NIL money compares to women's basketball NIL money. I don't know. I don't know. But I just know that I'm not sure if women's basketball is being competitive as far as the NIL dollars comparatively to the rest of the SEC. You got to balance it out against who it is that you're playing against. The other thing Juwan mentioned is about trying to get, I guess, a law passed so that you can pay high school student athletes. I guess that's NIL dollars too. Well, if the college athlete can make it, why can't the high school athlete make it?
Who pays at the university that you've committed to, or is there? Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know the specifics of that California law.
Missouri has something like that too, right?
For in-state kids.
That's the same thing that's what I think he was saying. Kids move to California, kids move to Missouri. Mm-hmm. I don't know what other states, have this law.
Well, definitely not the normal kind of conversation that you've had when it comes to basketball or football or baseball or anything like that. Now it's filtering down to, we got to get the high school players paid. When are we getting the middle schoolers paid? Just pop them, pay them when they first come out, when you're born. Why not?
Just have your academy. Just send them to the academy right there. That's what they do in Europe. Those those kids get there when they're 10 years old. Sometimes they're on scholarship. You practice your craft 4 hours a day and you go to school 4 hours a day.
But you actually do go to school.
They have that in Bradenton where I trained a little bit. It's an IMG academy. That's kind of what they do there. They have real, it's real good schooling, real good class. Then the facilities are just amazing.
Stay with us. We'll wrap up hour number 1 of Halftime in just a moment.
Hey, Hey, it's Ty Richardson for Papa's Pub and Pizzeria. I want to talk about their pizza today. The Goob Special with extra pepperoni and rib rub on top. The Parm Special with double mushroom and jalapenos. Don't forget about the bacon cheeseburger and everyone's favorite, the old trash can. Swing on by Papa's Pub and Pizzeria at 508 Garrison Avenue in downtown Fort Smith, or give them a call at 479-783-9941. Papa's Pub and Pizzeria, the best darn pizza in Fort Smith, perhaps the world.
This is Bruce Stanton, Vice President and General Manager of Pradco Fishing in Fort Smith. If you're going to do some cold water bass fishing, you need to be using an Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. It's the best lure for duplicating a small school of shad and can be worked from the top of the water column to the bottom. Whether you're trying to win a bass tournament or whoop up on a bunch of white bass and stripers, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr. will catch them. Available at Walmart, Bass Pro Shops, Academy, LureNet.com, and tackle stores all over the place, the Umbrella Flash Mob Jr.
More good news from Wave Rural Connect. If you're on the Arkansas Valley Electric Shoal Creek substation, fast, affordable internet is coming soon. That zone opens March 25th, so get ready. Amazing internet, TV, and phone from a local provider in Ozark, Arkansas is coming to you. Pre-register online at signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the community we serve.
Remodeling your bathroom? Don't let your imagination be limited by out-of-the-box shower doors or tub enclosures. Arkansas Glass and Mirror is your local source for all things glass, including plexiglass, mirrors, and shower doors since 1964. Arkansas Glass and Mirror has more selections, better prices, and the experience to help you build the shower of your dreams. They also have the only showroom in the area to help you create those dreams. Professional installation and professional service. Only at Arkansas Glass and Mirror, 1316 South Zero, Fort Smith, or online at arkansasglassandmirror.com.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PBS-STORE or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Back-to-back winners of the Best of Award, Gold Best Garage Company in Northwest Arkansas, and also winners of the River Valley Precision Overhead Door.
Do you need an oil change but don't have time to drop off your car? S&J Express Lube will let you sit in your car while they do the work, and it only takes about 15 minutes with no appointment needed. Prices start at $35.99 for a 20-point inspection service. S&J Express Lube is open Monday through Friday 9 till 6 and Saturdays 8 till noon. You'll find them at 14818 Highway 71 South in Jenny Lind. Check them out on Facebook too. S&J Express Lube, your authorized Castrol dealer in Sebastian County. They are waiting on you now.
Walk-Ons is always a win. Whether it's a post-game celebration, drinks with the crew, or an easy weeknight dinner, Walk-Ons has you covered. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, craft beers and cocktails. Dig into mouth-watering menu items like po' boys, gumbo, and voodoo shrimp, plus fan favorites like juicy burgers and fresh salads. Find your nearest location in Rogers, Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Conway, and coming soon to Little Rock, or order online or in the app. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win.
Why do people love Shamrock Liquor Warehouse? Simple. They've got it all. 70 years in business, 15,000 square feet of choices. They buy in volume so you can save. What else? How about the largest selection of everything? Shamrock's got it. Special orders? Shamrock's got it. Convenient drive-through, open 6 days a week? Shamrock's got it. Need a keg for your party? Shamrock's got it. Load up at Shamrock Liquor Warehouse at the corner of Midland and Riverfront Drive in Fort Smith.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Welcome back into halftime live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
All right, Matt, how are we going to do this thing? Let's see. You want to pick?
Is the wolf
our little thing here?
We got the wolf here. Let's do it. Yeah, so you're going to pick first in the East, Phil, and then you just tell me who you like, and I'll keep the list right
You're
here.
giving me the East. I actually get to pick the East.
You
That's
get the
UConn's
first
bracket, man.
You get first pick there.
How could I not take the defending national champions, the fighting Aaron Torreses? I'll go with UConn. How could I not?
All right, C bracket, you get to pick second.
What region am I in again?
You're in the East.
The East.
We're all in the East right now. UConn's off the list.
It's got to be rapid fire choices. You get 20 seconds.
And Wolf is up third.
5 left.
I'm gonna go with BYU.
BYU.
Ooh, going with a 6 seed.
Yeah.
Wolf, you're in the East.
Honestly, I don't think anybody other than UConn is coming out of this region, but
too late.
I'll take Auburn. They'll have to see UConn in the Sweet 16, so we'll see if they get lucky.
That's not a bad pick.
I'll take Illinois. It was either
No one's going with the Cyclones, huh?
I feel like they're way overrated.
The Fighting Marcus Pfizer's not really.
They're kind of overrated.
Got a sleeper pick going.
All right, C bracket, you're on the.
Who do you pick, Matt? Who'd you take?
I took Illinois.
Illinois. All right. The fighting Brett Bielema's.
There you go. The
Different
fighting
sport
Illini.
works.
Let's go C bracket. You're number 1 in the South.
Let's see here. Ooh, there's some tough ones. Let's go with. I'm gonna go with Houston.
Houston.
I love it. We're all going to be like Shannon Sharp. I saw Shannon Sharp pick the number 1 seeds to make it to the Final Four in both men's and women's basketball.
So did Timmy Legler. So did Legs. He said, I'm going to go all chalk this year.
Oh, that's right. Now, is Legler one of the analysts that does NBA but then moves over to college?
I think.
No,
yeah.
he's on ESPN.
His charisma, his enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Wolf, you're in the South.
Man, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick Kentucky. I think that's probably the second best pick there.
What?
Give me Kentucky.
One and done.
All right, I'll take Marquette.
MJ's picking Marquette.
And then Phil, you're picking in the South.
I can't go with Wisconsin. I can't go with Duke. You know who I want to pick? I want to go a little nuts with this one. The Fighting Dukes.
I like it.
Give me James Madison. I don't mean the Duquesne Dukes. Wouldn't it be fun if you had the Dukes in the championship game? JMU.
All right, Wolf, you're in the West.
I mean, I guess I just got to go North Carolina.
Like, Wolf is the best at this. I'm guaranteeing you. He has done a lot of research already.
I have.
You barely slept, haven't you?
I honestly don't. This year just doesn't feel like there's going to be a lot of upsets. So it's going to be a fun one.
I'll take Arizona. Phil, you're up in the West.
I can't pick Alabama. I just don't like them. Dayton, no. You picked Arizona, Baylor. Oh, I don't know about this.
Well,
man. This is a rough bracket on this side. I guess I would have taken Arizona. Give me Baylor. I guess. Give me Baylor.
All right, that leaves me with the scraps. It looks like
You got New Mexico, St. Mary's, Alabama.
Oh man, I'm gonna.
We got to get this in before the segment.
I'm gonna go with Clemson. Yeah, it's tough.
I like it.
All right, we got one more side.
All right, I'm going Tennessee.
Ooh, there's no way that it's going to be Tennessee. I will take. I guess I'll take Purdue.
You got 2 number 1 seeds, Phil.
Well, I don't know why you didn't take Purdue.
I'm not a believer in their guard. Okay, let's go see bracket. South Carolina.
I'll take Gonzaga.
All right, here we go. It's all for a taco. I love it.
Much less pressure than I feel than when I'm all by myself picking out a bracket, thinking to myself, where I really want to look at these teams' records and what they do well. Do I really want to do that? I like this version of this.
You could just go off the uniforms. My mom does.
We could go by the team that's got the funniest nickname or that has the most difficult names to pronounce. I'm going to guarantee you there are a few of them out there. 877-377-6963 is the McClarty Daniel Hotline, and halftime is back in just a moment.
Let's see. Leaky faucet Tuesday. Water flooding the yard. Better put that down for the middle of the month when the bills aren't due.
Honey, what are you doing?
Planning our plumbing problems, of course.
You can't plan our plumbing problems, but you should plan our plumber.
What do you mean?
Like all important contacts, I keep West Arc Plumbing in my phone. They're always there when we need them, and they don't overcharge since they know we don't plan our plumbing problems. Here, honey, here's their number.
646-5151. Thanks, babe.
West Arc Plumbing. We keep you flowing.
Tommy Kraft here for the Fitzman. Do you own a business that needs more security? Or maybe you just want a better look and more curb appeal? A new fence from the Fitzman can give you both. In business for more than 40 years, the Fitzman can custom install any type of fencing, gates, and control access for your business. Call the Fitzman and ask about 18 months same as cash financing with approved credit. 479-782-3936. That's 479-782-3936. The Fitzman. He ain't afraid of no work.
At Southern Tire Mart, we look out for you and your vehicle. Come visit us for America's most trusted brands like Michelin Tires and top-of-the-line service. You can depend on Southern Tire Mart and Michelin Tires to keep you rolling. Come see us at Southern Tire Mart, just off I-540 exit 14 in Fort Smith, for Michelin tires that fit your needs and service that cares for you like family.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind you to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I would also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the homestead tax credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify. The homestead tax credit can save you up to $425 off of your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by Sebastian County Assessor and paid for by Amendment 79.
You will never find a boring old burger at Art's Barbecue and Burgers in Fort Smith. Try the Wild West Burger, topped with a hot link, jalapenos, and Art's hot sauce. The Brisket Burger, with tender brisket and caramelized onions on top of their hand-patted burger. Or the famous Art Attack, with house bacon, smoked ham, an onion ring, and a fried egg. There are 10 different burgers to choose from, and they're all $1 off every Saturday. Art's Barbecue Burgers and more. Rogers Avenue, next to Buddy's in Fort Smith.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, blue sky, sunshine, not going to be quite as cool. Our high this afternoon, low to mid 60s. We're nice and clear tonight. And overnight low drops down, low to mid 40s. Sunny skies on Wednesday with a slight chance of showers across the north. Our high in the low 70s. And then a chance of showers again Thursday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Grain Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936.
I hate everything you just said. KERX Paris Fort Smith. This is halftime. Coming at you from the Bushlight Studios on ESPN 95.3.
They're hilarious.
Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect it.
If I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we not doing it.
We're gonna go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah.
People said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. What's my heart, dog? Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
What's able one Razorback?
Second half, very happy.
And vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's go to the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olsen and Matt Jones.
Into hour number 2, halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. Phil Elson here, Matt Jones, C-Unit, Wolf as well. Calls and texts on the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. Alyssa Orange is confirmed for about 15 minutes from now, so we'll kick around all the stuff going on with Arkansas men's and women's basketball, and with number one baseball too. By the way, they are Arkansas baseball now has been voted number one in the coaches poll, and it was the writers poll that they were number two earlier. Oregon State went 2-1 last weekend. The Hogs swept, so Arkansas now is a fully consensus number one team in the country. Big news is coming from Clemson, South Carolina. Clemson has now joined Florida State by challenging the ACC's grant of rights and are suing the conference to get out of the grant of rights and obviously join some other league. So I'm sure this eventually has to work its way to court. But the writing's on the wall, Matt. The ACC sounds like it may end up being the next league to fall. What was the other school that we thought may end up joining this? I think it was Miami. Florida State's the first, Clemson the second, Miami possibly a third, and who knows, maybe if you get one of the other big schools to join, whether it's North Carolina.
I think
or
North
Virginia.
Carolina. I mean, you got South Carolina there, and if you're looking to get other sports too, isn't North Carolina? I don't. Does football the only thing that matters? Because isn't North Carolina pretty good in baseball though too? Like they're good, they're really good in basketball. But I thought they were decent in
They're good in baseball.
Yeah, I thought they were decent. And then women's soccer is really good at North Carolina. Mia Hamm's a North Carolina alum.
We'll see. A school like North Carolina would need another league for their men's soccer program because there isn't any of that in the SEC. And a whole bunch of that's one of those athletic departments that is gigantic. North Carolina is huge. So, I mean, look, they don't care whether or not those sports have a home or not for whatever league it is. Because, yes, it is all about football.
Florida State and Clemson's who you want, right? I mean, would you want a Louisville? Would that be another team that's? But I guess if you Miami, is Miami really ever been good at football? I mean, they had a run
for what was it, 20 years? That's about it. Yeah,
they had a little run there, and they some consider the best ever team ever. You know that 99, 00, 01, that group of guys up there in Miami, but they're not. They haven't been anything in football.
I don't even think it's about TV. I mean, it's more about television markets and size of TV audiences and everything. I don't think Miami is that kind of a draw either.
There's so much to do there. It's kind of like out west with your USC and UCLA and Cal Berkeley. I mean, it's just like, well, man, there's just the sun's shining, the weather's in the 80s. It's if you're not a good product, like when USC was balling, Will Ferrell comes to games, Snoop Dogg comes to games. Same thing. If you had it going with star power, you got Messi, down the road. You got the Miami Heat. I think it's just hard for people to buy into college football when it's a mediocre product.
They have the first hearing about the case on Friday. Yeah, the ACC filed a lawsuit against Florida State preemptively in North Carolina, and that's where this case will take hold. So that would be ACC versus North Carolina. This is Clemson versus the ACC in a South Carolina court. So it'll end up being in two separate courts. I mean, sometimes that's the kind of thing that eventually ends up moving its way to the federal courts and maybe all the way up to the SCOTUS. But think about what the ACC has done recently. I mean, they lost. They were afraid of losing whoever it was that they're about to lose, and so they try to, gain strength in numbers by bringing in schools that have absolutely nothing to do with the Atlantic Coast or the conference that it's named for. Southern Methodist and Cal and Stanford, the leftovers, and that was supposed to, and a school like an SMU that is only being used because of their geography and I guess the donor base. They've got plenty. They're not even getting any money from the TV contract that the ACC has right now. So that was supposed to assuage some of the other schools who actually play big-time football to stay in the conference. The ACC is about to become the next version of the American Conference, which was the leftover the Big East. That's what it'll end up being. It'll be a conference, Matt, that is made up of the three schools I told you, Wake Forest. I don't know who else would stick around in the league. Maybe Louisville, maybe Pitt. it's not going to be anything like I think they want to view it as a major conference. Feels almost like a relegation. Clemson and Florida State both now trying to get out of the Atlantic Coast Conference. So we've got a P4 now, Matt. Why don't you go to a P3? Like in the next 2 years. Just thinking out loud. The Big 12, I think they're going to end up being the extra power league, because the ACC, the schools that matter, I guess, the big schools, the money schools, they'll filter between the SEC and the Big 10. And I do think that eventually the SEC will look to expand because of the numbers, not the TV markets, the numbers. Going to need to have a certain amount of schools in order to have your Super League, right? If the Big 10 has 18, well, then the SEC may have to have the same amount.
I think they're going to have it's going to be 20, and then you can have your two divisions of 10, and you're able to do some type of a way like that eventually, if it's 4 or 5, 7 years, however long you go to. But then if you had 40 teams right there, you're able to have some type of promotion and relegation style, and keep it with because you got to be competing for something, right? Like if you're going to do revenue sharing and it's based on what place you get, if you finish in first, second, or third, you get more of the pie.
Yeah, it's not like it's shocking or anything. It's just, these things happen, and the next thing you know, you end up trying to look to what the college sports will look like in the future. But I don't know, we've kind of kicked that around quite a bit over the last year or so. So that would be the next step, the very next step. JT asks, when do 70-ish power teams break away? That's right. That's what we're talking about. 4 geographic regions of football, JT? Well, I mean, you have that. If you have the Big 10 and SEC joining together, the only part of the country that you really don't have any major college football then would be the Northeast. That whole corridor, essentially from where Penn State ends and then goes all the way up into New York and into New England. I mean, because right now, Boston College is part of that, but would Boston College really be invited in to a Super League? Would Pitt? Would Syracuse? Penn State would, but that would be that would be the one part of the country where you don't have quote unquote major college football, because you'd have Washington and Oregon up in the Pacific Northwest. You'd have Arizona State, and the 2 LA schools in the Southwest, and we know Florida and everything going on in the Southeast. So yeah, you would have most of the regions. Maybe that's where your divisions start.
You think Syracuse could ever regain any glory?
No.
Yeah.
In what?
Football.
In lacrosse?
Football. Yeah. Well, Jim Brown was their best lacrosse player too. So yeah.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. See, Pitt has glory too.
Yeah.
Well, Aaron in Springdale be reminded, Miami's won 5 national titles. Yes. Well, Pitt's won like 8 or 9, but none since 1976. It's not a major football program. Miami hasn't done really anything in the last.
They had a run in the 80s
years.
and a run in the 90s. Yeah, I'm not taking that away. They've had a success for sure, but it's like it wasn't there early, and it hasn't been there in a while.
Syracuse has had major success in college football with some of the most legendary names ever to play the sport. No one would confuse Syracuse with being a major college football program any longer. They might play in the ACC. They might play in the same league that Florida State plays in and Clemson plays in, but obviously those two schools don't seem to care very much because they're getting out of there, because those are the marquee schools, and I think they realize that if you're going to have a major college football program, you have to play against the major schools. And that's just not the ACC right now. All right, we'll break here in a moment, talk with Alyssa Orange. Best Tex-Mex and better service is Joe's Grilling Cantina. Every Friday, Fajita Friday, features charbroiled steak and chicken, tender, full of flavor, coming with all the extras. Saturdays are for endless enchiladas with Joe's homemade enchilada sauce and all the beef and chicken enchiladas that you can eat. Great place to watch the NCAA basketball tournament as well. TVs all around the restaurant and the best service in town. That's Joe's Grilling Cantina at 3400 South 74th, right across from Harps in Fort Smith. joesfortsmith.com. You can also order on the Waiter app. Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation joining halftime in just a moment.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouth. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappies.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile device. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. And remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Are you in need of a good power washing? Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash is a full-service pressure washing corporation with over 15 years of experience in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more. We remove dirt, grime, and more to give you that sparkle you desire. Call me at 479-763-5561. We're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash, one call, cleans it all.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor Abe from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy.
AR and on Facebook and Instagram at Hit That Line. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Let's head to the McClarty Daniel Hotline. Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation with us here on halftime. And Alyssa, how you doing? Do I hear Alyssa? I don't hear Alyssa.
Hello, guys. How are you?
Did you hit the mute button again? I know that's happened once before.
No? Nope, I'm still here. I just can barely hear you guys.
Well, we got you loud and clear right here. I got you loud.
There we go.
Yesterday was a very odd day for the Razorback women's basketball team. Alyssa, the announcement from Talia Scott was no surprise. The Sailor Poffenbarger announcement did come off like a surprise.
Yeah, it was. And yeah, Talia, you had heard that back and forth and you really didn't know where it was going to go. But yeah, exactly. No one was surprised, and she hasn't been with the team for a few weeks now. The Sailor stuff really surprises me. And a lot goes back to the way that she just talked about the family atmosphere at Arkansas, looking for that when she left UConn. That was what was missing there. And feeling supported, and not that those things were not accurate, but that, unfortunately she felt like she still had to go somewhere else. And, you wish her the best of luck, and I really enjoyed covering her in her 2 seasons as a Razorback. But, you wish it could have turned around differently and maybe seen some things differently, but you got to go back to this is the way that it is. And there are athletes who feel and you think are just absolutely perfectly happy with where they are. And the next thing they know, they're in the transfer portal. And, you're going to spend a lot of hours awake if you try to figure out why all the time.
There are going to be many reasons in an athlete's mind why he or she wants to play or doesn't want to play at a place. Personality conflicts can be part of it, whether it's with your teammates or with the coach or 2 of the coaches, who knows. Playing time, I transferred as a student from one school to another because I wasn't really, I wasn't as successful at the place that I was and felt like another place might actually be better for me. But we'd all be naive to think that money is not a factor in these decisions. And I'm not talking about tuition either. What do we know about the NIL dollars available to women's basketball, if any?
Well, and that's kind of the question, right? Is what does this NIL look like at Arkansas? And I think you take it a little broader with this Arkansas Edge, which from a media standpoint, we don't know a whole lot about. We really haven't been able to talk to anyone with the Arkansas Edge who wants to sit down and talk to us, and that's not for lack of trying. I can say that our Evan Kamiko has tried to do an NIL story, and it's just we've kind of gotten the runaround with that for whatever reason. But there's a lot of questions about, those things right now. And so if you're Arkansas fans, and we know Arkansas fans, even though we are in Arkansasville, that, they want to know where their money is going, and they want to know exactly how things are laid out and where dollars are being distributed. And this kind of lack of transparency right now with Arkansas Edge is, in my mind, and what I'm hearing from people who are talking to me who are fans, that they just are concerned because they don't know. And if they knew more information, then they would feel better about it. And because of that, I think that then you look at where those NIL dollars are, and they're not where other schools are in the SEC. You don't have a collective like an Alabama or an LSU or even Ole Miss has right now. And so just in general, across the board, if that's just how it is right now at Arkansas, as they're trying to navigate this NIL world and figure out how to raise money and generate money for their NIL, women's basketball isn't at the top of that totem pole. Football, men's basketball, baseball is, and then it kind of gets, so you can only imagine, and again, we don't know, but you can only imagine that it's tough. when, you aren't LSU, who can offer all of these amounts to student athletes and bring in the Haley Van List and the Angel Reeses and what have you, that it's tough. And so you're selling a program that can't necessarily offer you a ton of NIL. And you've got to find a way to navigate through that. And it's frustrating, I'm sure, for the coaches. But again, from an outside world that I'm looking at, it just doesn't feel like Arkansas has found that niche to gain some of that NIL traction.
Hey, Alyssa, we had a little bit of talk yesterday about this Arkansas Razorback basketball team and who the coach is. Do you think Coach Muss will be the Razorback basketball coach next year?
I really, that's a tough question because my gut says no, because my gut knows that that he can be, looking at options, and, you don't know what's out there. You don't know the conversations he's having, but is there a possibility? Yeah, I think you could say there's a 30% chance he's back. There's a 70% chance that he coaches somewhere else, but that's where I am right now. With what I've heard, the interest from other schools, what's going on, he doesn't have a contract extension right now signed at Arkansas yet. What's the holdup there? Is he seeing what is out there first before that contract extension is done? You don't know. And so from my gut feeling is telling me that, he's looking, and if he finds something else, then he could go. If he doesn't, then he stays.
Do you think it's more about the resources and not as much about his paycheck, where it's more to be able to facilitate and put money to players?
I just, I have a hard time saying it's the resources, unless we're talking NIL. But when you look at facilities and everything else that these kids have, like Arkansas basketball has got everything you need, top to bottom, except the NIL stuff. Right? Like if it's truly the NIL stuff, then that's a whole separate thing, which I know that they're having to deal with. But in all of everything else, from where you play and the atmosphere you play in and the fan support that you have, and then everything else, Arkansas is a good school to come play basketball at. So I don't really know what complaints you would have there, again, outside of the NIL stuff. But I know that, again, basketball has done this kind of separately. They've kind of got their own things going, and they've done some NIL events just for the basketball team. So it's not for lack of doing things around the community that have generated some NIL stuff for them as well. So, there's a lot we don't know behind closed doors, but that's what my gut's telling me.
Just the picture that you're painting there, as, and we're guessing. That's what we're doing. We're guessing about this. But let's just live in that world for a moment. Let's say that Muss is waiting to see if a specific job comes open. You got jobs that are open right now. Let me see what I got here. You got Michigan, Louisville, Vanderbilt, Stanford, Oklahoma State, and DePaul. I don't think he's going to end up at any one of those places. But somebody else who's a head coach right now at another Division I program will end up taking those 6 jobs. So in that case, it's the chain effect. You don't want to be the program whose coach is waiting for a specific job to open, because, like, what are you doing now? I understand recruiting, looking at the portal and all of those things, but it's like half in, half out of the job.
Yeah, and it's a weird place to be at, right? And as you're out there recruiting, I mean, we even saw before the transfer portal officially opened that they were, had contacted some players already. But if you are a player who's in the transfer portal, and then there are all these questions on whether or not that head coach is still going to be there in a few weeks or a month or 2 months, you don't know. And that's always that risk that you take. And you're sitting right here going, well, am I committing to a coach or am I committing to a program? And then you even have players on this own team. And, like, that's the biggest issue I always have with this time of year is, like, you have to almost, like, re-recruit not only the players that you have, but then there are players in your program who have to prove that they're still valuable in your program, or you tell them to get gone. And that's what's hard too, is you've got these players who are not one and dones, who need to be developed and want to be in your program, but they've got to prove to you every year that they're good enough to still be here when you recruited them really hard out of high school, and then they're here, and then then it's like, okay, well, never mind. I mean, it's such a tough time right now, not for coaches, but also for these athletes. And I know that the transfer portal has given them a lot of freedom, but you look on the other side of that too, and it's like if a coach doesn't want you and they tell you to leave, even if you don't want to leave, you don't have a choice. So you're stuck. What are you doing? So that's why I think, you kind of get where you are right now with these players who have left and gone elsewhere. And you look at Jackson Robinson at BYU right now, and I know he wanted to stay at Arkansas, but he's at BYU right now.
We had a text in early about this, and the texter is right. There's a disconnect in the conversation about, it's not just NIL reasons why men's basketball struggled and why women's basketball didn't make it to the NCAA tournament and why football had a bad year. But it might be a part of it. It has not affected baseball and softball in that way at all. I mean, maybe culture is part of it. Maybe it's the nature of those two sports being bat and ball, being different. But, where the programs that we've just talked about have sunk in a little bit comparatively for the last couple of years, baseball is number one in the country. They look like they can't be slowed down. Softball keeps winning. So, they seem to be doing just fine in this era.
Yeah, and I think you're kind of on the right track there, Phil, where it's a culture thing. Courtney Deifel and Dave Van Horn, who are two of the longest, tenured coaches on staff outside, track, Buck and Chris Johnson has just taken over. But they've been here a while. They know exactly what they want. But I'm also curious, and you could do a deep dive into this with the amount of scholarships, anyways. Baseball players weren't going to play college baseball before NIL because they were getting full rides. They knew exactly what they were getting into, coming to play. And so, a little NIL money here and there is almost just a perk. And you also know that playing college baseball, specifically in the SEC right now, is actually better than being drafted outside of the money. But there's money, NIL. But, the facilities, the way you're taken care of, all of those things, as opposed to going into lower ball right out of high school and being drafted. So, I think maybe that has something to do with how baseball hasn't fallen off and the talent hasn't just decided to go elsewhere, is because just in general, college baseball was formatted in a way that it didn't really affect it. Now, getting guys out of the transfer portal is a different story.
Hey, Alyssa, real quick,
Yeah.
Final four. Who's your Final Four? Who you got cutting down the nets?
Oh gosh, I've given little thought to this as I've spent the last couple of days out of town. But I don't know if I've got a champion yet. I know a lot of people are picking Purdue, but Purdue makes me nervous. I got to give a little more thought on that one. I haven't sat down and done my bracket, but Iowa State right now is playing really well. I liked how they played in the Big 10 tournament, or the Big 12 tournament. So I might think that Iowa State is a Final Four team. Let's see. I know that Purdue is really, really good. I like Auburn too. And North Carolina. I grew up, I say a North Carolina fan. Like my dad liked UNC over Duke, so that's about it. So I like North Carolina, and I might need to get to my ACC roots a little bit. So there you go. There's my answer.
I like it.
My long, around-winded answer, North Carolina.
Whatever was left of the ACC in a few years, you can keep rooting for that too. Alyssa, appreciate you as always. Thank you so much. See you soon.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy. See you next week.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Alyssa Orange from Pig Trail Nation. You caught her by surprise with that question, Matt.
She might not have done her bracket yet.
I'm not ready for it myself.
I know. I just did my bracket today. I'm a day early. I don't think it starts till Thursday, so you still got another day. A lot of people going chalk this year, Phil. You're seeing a lot of last year. No number one seeds made it.
There's going to be a number one seed or two that gets there this year. UConn is getting there. I feel pretty good about UConn getting there. None of you guys do. Well, it's probably because I got to pick UConn in our little thing. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts on the McLarty Daniel hotline. And halftime is back in just a moment.
You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and anywhere on your favorite mobile device. Just search Hit That Line now.
It's Ram Truck Month, and at Arkansas's #1 Ram dealer, we got Ram 1 ton, 3/4 ton, and Ram 1500. And at Red River, nobody has a better selection. 0% for 72 months on all 24 model Bighorn. And up to $15,000 off heavy duty. And the largest selection in the state. Make it a beautiful drive to Heber Springs, or check us out on the web at redriverdodge.com. And remember, at Red River, we deliver. God bless.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is halftime.
Do you need an oil change but don't have time to drop off your car? S&J Express Lube will let you sit in your car while they do the work, and it only takes about 15 minutes with no appointment needed. Prices start at $35.99 for a 20-point inspection service. S&J Express Lube is open Monday through Friday 9 till 6 and Saturdays 8 till noon. You'll find them at 14818 Highway 71 South in Jenny Lind. Check them out on Facebook too. S&J Express Lube, your authorized Castrol dealer in Sebastian County. They are waiting on you now.
Hello, this is Sebastian County Assessor Zach Johnson here to remind you to assess your personal property by May 31st to avoid late penalty. You can do this in person at one of our 3 locations, over the phone, or online by going to www.countyservice.net. I would also like to remind any current homeowners or individuals buying their homes on contract to contact our office and check on your eligibility for the Homestead Tax Credit. Contact us today to see if you qualify. The Homestead Tax Credit can save you up to $425 off of your tax bill.
This ad sponsored by Sebastian County Assessor and paid for by Amendment 7.
It's the 3rd annual car show brought to you by McKenzie's Racing Supply. Bring your street rods, hot rods, and race cars from all area racetracks. Everyone is invited for a fun day of cars and music at McKenzie's Racing Supply, 1111 South 4th Street, Van Buren. Saturday, March 23rd from 11 to 1. Trophies will be awarded. Live music from the Jug Hill Annie Band. Sponsored by Scott Graham Performance Carburetors, Elite Plumbing and Drain Cleaning, American Towing, Phipps Chassis, and KR Promotions.
Husbands, sons, daughters, honor your wife or mother for Mother's Day at the inaugural Mystery at the Fort Legacy Ball, benefiting Heart to Heart Pregnancy and Family Care Center on May 11th at the U.S. Marshals Museum. Buy your tickets today for this 1940s mystery dinner, coupled with an exciting night of investigative entertainment and lively dancing with the band Who Shot JR. For more information, call 479-452-2260.
Barrels and Brews Bottle Shop at the Hub and Chaffee Crossing has everything you need for your favorite activities. Our knowledgeable staff will be glad to help you with the current specials and our new arrivals of must-have bourbons and whiskeys. Hit the cooler for some of the coldest beer in town or choose from our large selection of amazing wines. Order online or call ahead Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. at the Hub in Chaffee Crossing. Barrels and Brews, voted best of the best in Fort Smith. It will put a smile on your face.
At A&P Auto Sales, we take pride in the way we do business. We focus 100% on our customers and believe car buying should be a fun, hassle-free experience. We will work with your budget and offer a dependable car at a price you can afford. Bank financing is available with approved credit, or cash is always accepted. Hop on over to 1202 Fayetteville Road in Van Buren and choose from a wide selection of cars, trucks, and SUVs. Contact us today at 353-1246 or check us out online at apautosales.net. Find your next car at A&P Auto Sales in Van Buren.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Since you don't wonder why, baby, it don't matter now. You got to let go of your worry. Oh, honey, you didn't do nothing wrong.
Welcome back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Got a question or comment for the guys? Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Let's get back to the show with the voice of Arkansas Razorback baseball, Phil Elson, and Razorback football legend Matt Jones.
They swing at strikes. They make you throw it over the plate. They use the whole field. And, some teams are a little pull happy. You can get them out with off-speed stuff late in the count. Auburn makes some really good adjustments. They stay through the middle of the field. They go the other way. And, the numbers back it up. They've been behind in a lot of games this year where they've come back and scored 5, 6, 7, 8 runs in the last few innings to win. So even if you get a lead on them, you just feel like no lead is safe. You've really got to bear down, throw it over the plate, and make them earn it. And that's what we've done a good job of, is throwing strikes. I think this is going to be a really good series. We're going to have to play well.
Dave Van Horn this morning previewing Arkansas and Auburn. The series starts Thursday at Plainsman Park. One thing that stands out about this baseball team is that they make contact. Arkansas has struck out the fewest times of any team in the Southeastern Conference over the first 19 games. I think it's 6.3 strikeouts per game. I mean, we've had some teams that strike out over 9 times a game. Those 3 strikeouts are a pretty big difference. Auburn's very much the same way. In fact, these are 2 teams that have more batters reaching via walk or being hit by a pitch than striking out. And that stands out. That stands out in any form of baseball, even in the SEC in the first 5 weeks. The Hogs are I'm not going to say they're a contact-oriented lineup, because they're starting to hit the ball over the fence. They're going to hit it over your heads. I think it's more doubles than home runs, but the homers are coming. But they're going to force teams. Well, let me put it in a different way here. There'll be more mistakes made in the field against Arkansas than in other years, just because of the just simple math of more balls put into play. A number that I'll keep track of now that I'm thinking of it are unearned runs that are scored based upon getting an extra out in an inning. They've scored 29 unearned runs in 19 games. That's because they're a team that puts the ball into play. Reggie Jackson once said, Matt, that a strikeout's just like any other kind of out. And that is, look, Reggie Jackson knows more about hitting than I do. He's a Hall of Famer, but he's wrong about that. He was just basically trying to defend the way that he hit, which was swing as hard as he possibly can. Didn't matter if you hit it or not. But a strikeout is different because there's no action, and there can't be an error made on a strikeout. If there is, it's really rare. Even a pop-up, there's more of a chance of reaching base on a pop-up than on a strikeout. You got to force the opponent to make plays in the field, and that's what this Razorback team is doing right now. And I think they field pretty well. But I think it's a team that can take advantage of other teams' mistakes in the field. You take advantage of mistakes at the plate, but you got to take advantage of the extra out that you're given when you're given that extra out. And so far, that's what they do. So I think there's been a little too much focus on, not necessarily showing the kind of power that folks are used to, but there's something that goes along with that, and it's a team that can do a lot of action on the bases, put the ball in play, and take advantage of a team's mistakes. Isn't that part of what winning is about? Is about minimizing your mistakes and maximizing your opponent's mistakes. And that's a thing this team can do. Like, there are fewer balls put into play against this team, against Arkansas, because they strike so many batters out. And that on the other side, the lineup, the offense, puts the ball into play more often. So there'll be more mistakes made in the field. It's amazing. Like, this pitching staff, Matt, is striking out about 14 batters a game. They're only striking out 6 times. That's a big difference. For eight outs to be different via strikeout is a huge difference in this sport. And I think that'll pay dividends for them moving forward.
I'm a big fan of putting bat on ball, making the other team make plays. Absolutely. Now it is different with guys. Certain guys can kind of get that walk. Who's the best on this team at drawing a walk?
Kendall Diggs leads in walks, but he's also the most. They'll call you patient when you find a way to get on base. They'll call you not aggressive enough if you take a lot of pitches and don't get on base. Kendall gets on base, so he's patient.
Fair enough.
And there's a few other guys that are like that. We see Nolan Souza being a little more choosy. Ben McLaughlin is a very patient hitter. And this goes along with hitting home runs. You know, Bubba and I did bases loaded this morning, it came out this morning, and he was talking about, you hit for power, hitting for power. It's not just about how hard you swing. It's not just about the path of the bat. It's so much about the choosiness you might display on what it is you're trying to attack. And that's a thing that Diggs is really good at. If you have yourself a hitter's count, if it's 2-0, if it's 3-1, you make a plan and you be stubborn about it. I know what it's like to be stubborn about a lot of things. Don't swing at that pitch if it's not exactly where you want it. And then you got to battle with 2 strikes and just be okay with it. But when you get that pitch that you're ready for in the hitter's count, you get a chance to crush it. And that's what I'm seeing them do. And getting a guy like Peyton Stovall back is huge too, just because now that he's at the top of the batting order, he's another guy that usually finds a way to get a good pitch to hit. It's so funny, and I guess it took a while to think about this. When you hear the cliche, what's your favorite cliche in football?
Oh, I don't know. He's a high motor guy.
High motor guy. That's a good one. It's a good one. Great cliche in baseball, just trying to get a good pitch to hit. But it
only takes one.
There's truth in that. There's truth in that. You're trying to get a good pitch to hit, and there's just like a difference in the mindset, I think. If you're up there trying to get a good pitch to hit and put a good swing on it, and not up there trying to get a hit. It's the matter of what the effort is. If you're trying to get a good pitch to hit, your effort is being patient and being aggressive, selectively aggressive when you need to be. If your effort is, I got to go up and get a hit, well, you may end up chasing something or overswinging. And I think this team right now has that mindset of getting a good pitch to hit. And they're good 2-strike hitters, too. I think they trust themselves on 2 strikes, and that's why they're going to end up putting more balls into play. So that who knows? I think that'll pay huge dividends for this baseball team moving forward. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts on the McLarty Daniel hotline. And most of the texts that are coming in today are all about the basketball coaches at Arkansas. And the question is, Mike Neighbors on the hot seat, and the other question is, will Muss be the coach, or do you think he would have stayed? He would have stayed. He still wants to be the coach if they would have made the tournament. It's the coaching carousel stuff, Matt. I guess it's just that time of the year.
So wild if we have 2 new coaches up there. That would be. I wouldn't have not have thought that at the start of basketball season.
Well, I think Mike's job is safe for this year. I think that change would have been made already.
Yeah,
just like Kentucky did. But the Muss thing is all. It seems to be just all his decision right now. What it is he feels like doing, where it is he wants to go. Lane in Cave City is called the McLarty Daniel hotline. Hi, Lane. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing good, Mr. Phil. I just want to say this one thing before I ask my question. I would love listening to you and Mr. Bubba Carpenter on calling the ball games. I think as Razorback fans, between you and Mr. Chuck Barrett, we're very lucky to have y'all as announcers.
That's much appreciated, Lane. Thank you.
But I guess my question, I've heard you and Bubba talk about this, about how Dave Van Horn has kind of gotten away from small ball like he used to play, Arkansas used to be well known for. Do you think he might go back to that small ball mentality, especially with the pitching staff we have, or just kind of rely on this power hitting? I'll jump off here and listen to y'all's answers.
Sure. No, I appreciate the call, and thank you for your comments, Lane. I think that they won't coach that much differently from the way that they've approached how to score runs in the last few years, because that's still the kind of players that you have. But there will be games where the score dictates the way that you might manage the game. If it is, and there will be a very low-scoring game out there at some point soon, where a run is going to make a difference, one run, and it won't be on a home run. You got to find a way to scratch that out. And I think this team's got the capability of doing that. You know, you get a leadoff walk, hit and run, move them up, find a way to bring them in, or a double and bunt them over. I think there are guys on this team that can definitely do that, and you certainly have a head coach who's not shy about managing a game that way. That's not the way that they're going to approach the whole season, but I think there will be individual games and certainly individual moments that they will, and they can. And I really appreciate that phone call, too. Thank you very much. 877-377-6963 if you want to follow as well on Halftime and our McClarty Daniel hotline. We'll wrap up the second hour in just a moment.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PBS-STORE or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Back-to-back winners of the Best of Award, Gold Best Garage Company in Northwest Arkansas, and also winners of the River Valley Precision Overhead Door.
What's on your to-do list today? Does it include looking for a new piece of heavy equipment? If so, come by and see us at Sharp Equipment today and explore our latest offers and deals as a Wacker-Neuson dealer. Whatever your day brings, whatever job it is you need to complete, Wacker-Neuson Equipment is up to the task, and Sharp Equipment is here to help. Stop in Central Hydraulics and see us at Sharp Equipment, located at 6104 Highway 271 South in Fort Smith, or give us a call at 479-242-1406.
Arkansas Fuel Injection in Fort Smith has been providing quality work for all new and rebuilt diesel pumps and injectors for over 25 years. They are a certified diesel shop with a team of quality technicians that ensure the highest quality workmanship and warranties all their work. They are open Monday through Friday 8 to 5 and has emergency service available 24 hours a day. For all your diesel pump, fuel injection, and parts needs, stop by Arkansas Fuel Injection, 6300 South 29th Street, Fort Smith. Call them today at 1-800-817-7709. Arkansas Fuel Injection.
If you've lived in the River Valley for a while, you know about the great reputation of Jam Mart. And their newest location at 6201 Grand Avenue in Fort Smith is open. Stop by for coffee, gas, beer, snacks, ices, and a clean restroom every time. Don't forget about the hot deli and fresh-made burgers. Now 7 locations in Fort Smith, Greenwood, Boonville, Ozark, and Danville. Sign up for their loyalty program for discounts throughout the stores. Jam Mart, the leading convenience store and gas station in the region.
Flu vaccines, both regular and high dose for seniors, are now available at Law's Drug Store in Fort Smith. Call 452-6116 to schedule your shot appointment. Usually there is no cost when covered by your insurance. Law's Drug has COVID vaccines, RSV vaccines for ages 60 plus. Pneumonia and tetanus shots are also available. Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Do you need an oil change but don't have time to drop off your car? S&J Express Lube will let you sit in your car while they do the work, and it only takes about 15 minutes with no appointment needed. Prices start at $35.99 for a 20-point inspection service. S&J Express Lube is open Monday through Friday 9 till 6 and Saturdays 8 till noon. You'll find them at 14818 Highway 71 South in Jenny Lind. Check them out on Facebook too. S&J Express Lube, your authorized Castrol dealer in Sebastian County. They are waiting on you now.
Hi, this is Garen Armstrong with Shamrock Roofing and Construction. That small roofing company my father started 45 years ago has now become one of the largest roofing companies in America by following one rule, the golden rule. No one can install a better roof at a better price, a better warranty than Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Let our local family serve your family. Shamrock Roofing and Construction. Call today or visit us online at shamrockroofers.com.
Are you an angler having trouble finding all the bait, tackle, and more for your fishing needs? Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, now located in Fort Smith next to Witts Marine on North 11th Street, is your place. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle also has the largest selection of plastics in the River Valley. Reactor Innovation, Bobby Garland, Zoom, Mega Bass, and more. Check out the Daiwa Rod and Reels. Make a Wake Bait and Tackle, 803 North 11th Street in Fort Smith, 479-926-9320. Also get your rod and reels repaired. Come see us next to Witts Marine at Make a Wake Bait and Tackle.
Your home home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
You walked into the party like you were walking to a yacht. Your hat strategically dipped below one eye. Your scarf was half-cut. You had one eye as you watched yourself go out. And all the girls dreamed that they'd be your partner, they'd be your partner. You're so brave. You probably think this song is about you. You're so brave. You think this song is about you. Don't you, don't you?
Welcome back into Halftime Live from the Crabtree RV Studios. Crabtree RV Center in Alma, where we make your dreams come true.
Teach me something new, man. I need to learn. Say something. Well, you got something to write with? Good. It's time to work on your interviews.
My interviews? What do I got to do?
You're going to have to learn your cliches. You're going to have to study them. You're going to have to know them. They're your friends. Write this down. We got to play them one day at a time.
Got to play. It's pretty boring.
Of course it's boring. That's the point. Write it down.
One day at a time.
All right. I'm just happy to be here. Hope I can help the ball club. I know. Write it down. I just want to give it my best shot, and the good Lord willing, things will work out.
Good Lord willing,
things will work out. Yep. How's Annie?
Of course, that's really all Crash wanted to know is how's Annie doing. Yeah, that's the scene we all remember from Bull Durham with the cliche lesson. And then remember, Nuke learned because he told the reporter those exact words at the end of the movie, and then reminded her about her name, Rayanne.
That's a good one. I need to watch that one again.
I need to watch that one about 5 more times. That would be about 1,000,005 times that I've seen it. Yeah. Anybody teach you your cliches, Matt? Did you have a lesson in this? Did Rick Schaefer come over to you and try to tell you about the which cliches to use? Or he was an SID, I think, when you were playing there.
You know, Pops being a coach, you always you let somebody else talk about you. You talk about your teammates. I would learn that at an early age.
You've even carried that into a radio career.
I don't
too.
if you want to talk about me, you can, but I'll talk about my teammates.
Yeah, and you can throw it into the one game at a time too, and you don't have to talk about anybody. Be as humble as you possibly can.
Yeah.
I don't think Nuke exactly was that. Maybe Carly Simon was singing about him with his quadraphonic Blaupunkt. No, JT, that song is not about you. Definitely not about you. 877-377-6963. Speaking of pitchers news. And maybe this is also a little more evidence that I don't know if I could use the word collusion, but the ball players are starting to talk about that exact word in Major League Baseball. They're really upset at the head of the Players Union. The reigning Cy Young Award winner in the National League, Blake Snell, just now signed a contract. He's a free agent, 2 years, $62 million. To pitch for the San Francisco Giants, go up the coast from the team that he'd pitched for. I don't remember when he was traded over to San Diego, a year and a half after the trade from Tampa. But the season starts tomorrow, right? I'd forgotten the season starts in South Korea. A couple of teams are out in South Korea, are in Korea now, so I guess they get to come back, and then it's one of those deals where you play in regular season games, then come back and play more exhibition games.
It's a soft opening.
Yes, that is a soft opening, and it makes absolutely no sense. I guess they don't want to go play exhibition games over there, but Snell, this has to be the latest that a reigning Cy Young Award winner has ever signed a free agent.
Is he
contract.
healthy? Is he going to be a day one starter? Yeah,
He probably is. Yeah, he's healthy. He's ready to go. He's probably been training himself over these last couple of months. But yeah, watch out for that word collusion in Major League Baseball. It's coming out soon. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio will collude with us about some college football in about 20 minutes. Otherwise, the McClarty Daniel hotline's open for you right now as we go into the third hour. 877-377-6963. Halftime is right back.
A lot of batters have been striking out lately. Don't do that. Hit a home run with Wheeler Power Sports and the Slingshot by Polaris. They're going to make a donation to charity for every strikeout by our favorite college baseball team for the month of March and for every new Slingshot sold by Wheeler Power Sports. So join the fun and get out on the open road on a new or pre-owned Polaris Slingshot. Check them out online at WheelerPowersports.com or stop by and see them at 901 North 11th Street in downtown Fort Smith.
Hey, I'm Hagen Smith. As an Arkansas pitcher, I know the importance of precision, skill, and keeping cool under pressure. That's why for your home, choosing the right team for heating and air is just as important. You want professionals who bring their best game. When it comes to staying comfortable, I rely on Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric. They'll send pros to take care of your home, too. Sign up now for Pascal's Plan Protection membership before the summer heat for only $8.99 a month. Never pay for a tune-up again when they're included in your membership. Professional people, professional service. Pascal Air, Plumbing, and Electric.
More good news from Wave Rural Connect. If you're on the Arkansas Valley Electric Shoal Creek substation, fast, affordable internet is coming soon. That zone opens March 25th, so get ready. Amazing internet, TV, and phone from a local provider in Ozark, Arkansas is coming to you. Pre-register online at signup.waveruralconnect.com or call 1-833-492-8372. Arkansas Valley Electric and Wave Rural Connect, changing the community we serve.
Before you buy that next car or truck, stop by Broadway Motors in Van Buren. The best of the best for 2 straight years. Michael and his team offer the best prices on the best quality pre-owned vehicles in the River Valley. They invite you to stop by and check it out for yourself. Or if you prefer to check out their inventory online or even do your financing online. Michael has built his reputation as a husband, father, and owner-operator since 2006. Broadway Motors, 806 Broadway in Van Buren, or online at BroadwayMotorsAR.com.
After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics. Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call your local Shelter agent, Chris Dooley, at 479-646-6792.
ESPN Arkansas weather.
For today, blue sky, sunshine, not going to be quite as cool. Our high this afternoon, low to mid 60s. We're nice and clear tonight. And overnight low drops down, low to mid 40s. Sunny skies on Wednesday with a slight chance of showers across the north. Our high in the low 70s. And then a chance of showers again Thursday. I'm Sally Russell with your forecast on ESPN Arkansas.
The weather is brought to you by Forest Grant Incorporated, committed to setting the standard of excellence since 1936. From the Bushlight Studios, this is ESPN 95.3, KERX Paris, Fort Smith.
Are you sure this is legal? I don't know. It's fun though, isn't it?
Coming to you live from the Crabtree RV Center Studios. Broadcasting on ESPN Arkansas and streaming on hitthatline.com.
We got a good one tonight. You got a team in here that doesn't respect it. If I'm all right. Why can't they dominate? And we not doing it.
We're going to go get one and celebrate on somebody else's field.
Yeah.
Both said you had very motivational words at halftime.
It's halftime with Bill Olson and Matt Jones.
From the bottom of my toes to the top of my head. My heart, dog. Let's go, man.
Probably as frustrated as I've been the first half.
That's able one Razorback.
Second half, very happy.
And vintage Matt Jones. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Right now, let's take the field.
Call or text on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Olson and Matt Jones.
Welcome in hour number 3, halftime on ESPN Arkansas and hitthatline.com. I'm Phil Elson with Matt Jones. Who's in there? Is it the unit or is it the Wolf at the moment?
It's the unit.
Is he C Bracket now? Is he C Music?
C Bracket, man.
C Bracket works. That'll work. Okay, since it's basketball tournament time, why not go just with that direction? C Bracket. If you don't win, by the way, if you don't have the best bracket in the entire company, you're gonna have to give that name up.
Yeah, and the thing that matters really is the C Final Four. So he has BYU, Houston, Clemson, and South Carolina.
Those wouldn't normally be my first picks, but I think I did good on.
That's how he's going to go to battle. That's what he's going to try to get some points. You got the Dukes of Jimmy Madison, UConn, Baylor, and Purdue. That's 2 number 1 seeds and the number 1 overall seed. You might be tough to beat, Phil.
Did you sit there and try to figure out a bunch of strengths and weaknesses about every matchup? I mean, think of what that would be like. What do you got? 32 games, right, in the first round. Do people really take all this time to research all of the games? Like, I research a game when I'm getting prepped for it. It'll take an hour and a half, 2 hours to get ready for a basketball game. Do we really take that much time getting set for this bracket?
I did mine about the same way Alyssa did hers. She just went rattled through a couple things and she settled on North Carolina. And I think that's kind of, you're like, yeah, I like Houston. I kind of like Auburn. I kind of like
her reasoning for why she went with North Carolina was because her dad was a fan and she liked the ACC.
Yeah. So it's like when you pick your horses, you just kind of, hey, I'll take the number 5 horse, I'll take the green horse, I'll take the gray horse.
I always walk over to the holding pen at Oaklawn. It's been a minute since I've been at Oaklawn, but I always walk over there and I want to walk around and get a look at the horse as if I know what I'm looking at. Yes, I like the hind quarter on this guy right here. Ooh, he dropped something that really is impressive right there. I like how that guy's brushing that horse's mane. I think I'll go with number 5. Because look at those hindquarters. How could I not bet against that? But that's easy. It's just the eye test. Don't have to do any research.
I like my Marquette pick. They're getting their point guard back. They got a little lefty guard. They were in the Big East tournament, and their last regular season games, they didn't have him there, and they still were able to make it to the finals in the Big East tournament. And then nobody's beating UConn, but they're on the whole other side. They'd have to match up with Kentucky. They would have to beat Florida, maybe, and Kentucky. So they got some tough games ahead of them, but they got some ballers on that Marquette team.
So I'm going to tell you the one place that I'd be nervous if the job comes open that would maybe become the coach there, and it's UCLA. Now who knows what? Now they are not in any tournament this year, so they're in either portal mode or just recruiting mode, but. And I don't think it's a matter of will Mick Cronin be fired, because this is the one down year that they've had. I mean, they won 31 games the year before, Final Four in his second year. So I don't think it's that his job's in jeopardy. But, I mean, I think UCLA, we got into this a bit yesterday. Like, I think UCLA is in a precarious financial situation. And I think that's why they're moving to the Big Ten. But and I don't know what Cronin's making. I'm assuming there's still a really good dollar figure that UCLA is paying their head basketball coach. But that's the job that if it comes open, like Michigan, I wouldn't worry about that. Louisville, I don't think he's being targeted there. It's if Cronin takes any of these other jobs or tries to get any of these other jobs and is hired, when that one comes open, now I'd start to, think, yeah, I could see this happening. But is this a situation where he's just going to jump for whatever job looks like it could be attractive? I just don't. I don't know. I mean, are you gonna? I don't think there's a job open like that right now. So it's a matter of waiting. And I don't know if right now Arkansas is in a place where they can wait very much to try to build a roster, Matt. I mean, you got to. If you want to, I don't look at it as a positive that you missed out on the postseason, but at least you can just put all of your focus on recruiting and on the portal and on figuring out who can fit and putting your best foot forward with those guys. But I do think, Matt, if UCLA were to come open, then the dots can be connected really easily.
Is he a West Coast guy? I know he coached the Golden State Warriors.
From San Diego.
Yeah, West Coast guy. Yeah, you got to think of the talent. I know I talk about Arkansas, for as little a state as we are, especially population, dude, we put out some NBA talent. There's no way around it. But the state of California, I mean, that has to be top 3, top 5 in the country, right? As far as what are you thinking? Florida, Texas, that DC area, where Allen Iverson, Kevin Durant, all those guys are kind of from a little bit. But California has to put out some of the most talent. So you kind of get to just go shopping in your backyard as well. And then that name, to be able to get a guy like Anthony Black from Duncanville, Texas, that name, I think his name still travels a little bit. You put that brand UCLA and give him some money, man, he might take him to Titletown.
Yeah, that's the one. That is the one. I wouldn't worry about. I mean, he played at San Diego. Wouldn't worry about either of the two schools there. Really, it's just they're not at the same level as you are at Arkansas. So, but then the idea is like what Mike told us yesterday, and Alyssa, mentioned again today. If there is a contract extension that's offered, it hasn't been signed. So, it's just trying to put a certain amount of pressure to bear on the administration to try to raise the money a little bit. I mean, if somebody would text in and say, well, why do you raise somebody that had a miserable season? It's all market pressures. Do you want him as the coach or do you not want him as the coach? And that seems to be, if this is what's going on, an extension that hasn't been signed and the offer might be there, well, then that's putting a little pressure on the people that you're trying to get more money from. But yeah, that would be the one gig that I guess I'd worry about, because out of the ones that are open right now, Michigan, nope. Louisville, I don't see it. Stanford, no. Not Oklahoma State. There's others. I think is Washington open? They're not going to happen. DePaul, no. It's all a matter of what filters down from whatever these hirings are.
And then again, he could be at Arkansas for another year. Does it feel like either way? I mean, but if he comes back for another year, maybe they have success. Would it be easier for him to be plucked then? If he was to get to a Final Four with Arkansas, then do you think UCLA's calling? Like, are they on the phone with him right then, or do you think he would be more willing to stay with the Hogs?
I would also just imagine that at least he's got to be in demand. But
Absolutely. How do you not want Coach Muss as your coach? If you're,
I agree.
I'm with you.
I think there are a lot of college basketball programs out there that have a coach that wouldn't mind Muss being the coach anyway.
In my opinion, he's a top 40 coach, maybe even a top 20 in college basketball. I mean, he's probably a top 20 coach in college basketball. I mean, no question about it. I think he is. Like, he would be on that list. I think you'd be lucky to have Coach Musselman as your coach.
There's one opening in the SEC in both men's and women's. The women's program that's open is Kentucky. They fired Kyra Elzy. It was, I think, the day after they lost in the SEC tournament. So she was the first to go. No other moves have been made. And in men's basketball, of course, there's Jerry Stackhouse. Did I read properly? Is Stackhouse getting a $15 million buyout?
Which door do you want me to walk out of?
No kidding. He had just signed an extension.
He's coach of the year last year.
I think it was after last year, signed the extension. Then it's got to be tied directly to this buyout. I mean, at that point, you would run out of there with your hair on fire to play in that building, and try to recruit there. Look, I mean, it's kind of fun to go there and call a game at Memorial Gymnasium, but for that to be your home building, I could see, yeah. Exactly. Which door would you like me to walk out? Do I need to sign this thing 3 times? Because I will. You want it in crayon or pen or pencil or all of it all at once?
Put your Herbie Hancock on there.
That's exactly right. Text coming in. Scott says the only issues he has were huge losses. Yeah, I mean, you did have some pretty embarrassing losses this year. That whole month of January, I would just like to forget, but they did get competitive afterward. For the most part, got competitive afterwards. And I agree. I mean, those blowouts, there's a difference. A loss is a loss, but, man, I mean, there's a difference losing by 38 and losing by 2 or 1 or feeling that you had a chance.
And I don't know if any coach ever tell you, but I wonder when he looked around and said, uh-oh. He said, this is the guys I got in here, uh-oh. I wonder when that light bulb moment was, and – you had some bad L's for sure, but as a coach, they know before us, they know before we know. He's like, not enough.
That loss to Greensboro at home just made me think that maybe the season would be a little different than the previous 3, but it was watching that second half against Auburn.
Oh my goodness! Right? Didn't
That
even
was-
belong on the floor.
That was when that's when it's like, oh my gosh, this is not what I thought it was. They might have known a little before that. Meanwhile, BE still hasn't even seen Bull Durham or Tin Cup.
Ooh, Tin Cup's a good one.
He's been listening to the show since we ever started this thing. I mean, you continue to listen to this show even though you haven't seen Tin Cup or Bull Durham, and you don't even like Billy Joel, BE. I mean, what are we doing here? What are we even doing here? BE and I should go to Crabtree RV Center at some point, because I think the two of us would have a lot of fun on a road trip together, playing just Billy Joel songs 24/7. Crabtree RV Center is at the junction of I-40 and I-49 in Alma beside the Cracker Barrel. You'll get the best experience. They'll help you choose the right RV for your adventures. The service and parts department takes care of you. Everything you need in between, with the exception of people that have good music choices. Crabtree RV Center, making your family's dreams come true for over 70 years and 4 generations. CrabtreeRV.com for more info. Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio on halftime in just a moment.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile device. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. And remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Are you in need of a good power washing? Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash is a full-service pressure washing corporation with over 15 years of experience in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more. We remove dirt, grime, and more to give you that sparkle you desire. Call me at 479-763-5561. We're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash, one call, cleans it all.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor A from Woodland. Read about it.
This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Call or text the McClarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McClarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McClarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McClarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McClarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs.
1043 in Harrison and Mountain Home, and everywhere on hitthatline.com. Join the conversation. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to the hosts. Here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Halftime via the McClarty Daniel hotline. That's where we have Bill King with us right now from Nashville Sports Radio, the king of college football talk, hosting Monday through Friday from 6 to 9. Good afternoon, Bill. How are you?
I was just thinking, there is no way that Matt Jones pregame listened to music like that. There's no way.
But Matt Jones, while we were listening to that, detailed a great scene from the movie Zoolander from that very song. So he was at least moving. He had a little
Orange
overbite
mocha
going on.
frappuccino.
Exactly right. See, he knows his
Little Foo Fighters. Bill King, you like Dave Grohl? You like little Foo Fighters before a game.
I do.
Okay,
I
all
do.
right.
You guys meet. You guys meet in the middle somewhere on music, I'm sure.
Yeah,
somewhere out there. Bill, big news coming out earlier, although I guess no surprise. Florida State is now suing the ACC in South Carolina court. The ACC already has a countersuit against Florida State in North Carolina court. So the writing's on the wall, though, there for the ACC, isn't it?
Yes, the ACC will be a diminished league. I'm not ready to say it implodes, a la the Pac-12. I don't know that we're there. We could get there, but right now it's going to be a diminished league. You're not going to have Florida State. You're not going to have Clemson. North Carolina does not want to be there. Now, after that, I don't think Miami does. The other schools I don't really think have a choice. So the future will be a diminished, renegotiated ESPN media agreement, which they have an opt-out on this one, the current one, in 27. They will not renew, nor will they continue for the same $35-40 million. And you'll have basically a G5 league is what the ACC will be in football.
Does this? So I mean, there's the 2 schools that have filed suit. It's like there can be real weight applied here if one of those other schools that you mentioned, Miami, North Carolina, maybe Virginia, that would also throw a suit in there. Are we waiting on another school to serve a suit to the ACC?
If so, it's probably North Carolina. I don't know if that's imminent, but in a metaphorical way, you have a big, at least former somewhat bully that's now being retaliated against, and it's a dark alley, and they're against the wall with no weapons. That's the ACC. It's going to get ugly, and the worst part is we need to all remember the most valuable part of this whole conversation we have about college football in general is your media agreement. How gaudy is it? How fat is it? And Without that, you're nothing. And the ACC's got a very bleak future.
Well, and the next agreement to be made, I saw the conferences have made their agreement as to who gets what slice of the pie coming from the college football playoff. The next thing is to actually negotiate the contract with the television partners. But if there's a potential league that's already agreed to a certain slice of the pie, I mean, these negotiations may not mean now what they mean in 2 years.
Now, you mean the playoff money?
Right. Like if the ACC is a diminished league, why are they being included as, for the amount of money that they've agreed to percentage-wise compared to the SEC and the Big Ten, who are taking such a gigantic slice of the pie compared to the other leagues that, I mean, you're talking about two totally separate, like the word isn't proper, but two totally separate income brackets between the P2 and then the others.
As of right now, the ACC will double per team their playoff money from about 6 to 13. But also in this contract is something called a look-in. All that means is confusing to people, so I'll just give you the cliff notes and all you need to know. A look-in means a league can at any point say, let's stop and look in here and see if everything's kosher, meaning money-wise. And the SEC and the Big Ten, if it's a diminished ACC, by that time will fire up that look-in clause, and the money will be renegotiated, and the SEC and the Big Ten will get more, and the ACC will be left with crumbs. That's what will happen. That's in the contract.
So then there's no incentive for the SEC or the Big Ten to not try to poach, really, because then they end up getting a larger slice of the pie. Well, that's kind of the way I view it.
Yeah, now, I'm always real careful about that because I think we've talked about it on the show. There's two categories when you're talking about expansion, and two categories only, and that's additive or dilutive. And additive means you need to be able to, if we're bringing you in here and every team's supposed to be getting $80 million, are you bringing $80 million worth of market brand worth? And I think that's questionable. Now, will they probably relent and want to take a Florida State or a Clemson to play defense against the Big Ten, their partner, but still you're competing here? They may do it, but I would think it would be more of a defensive posture than an aggressive offensive posture. I don't think that they want either one of them.
Tell me what you think about this situation with Trev Alberts leaving Nebraska, going to A&M. Man, when I saw that, I was totally floored that not just a former Husker, but a legendary former Husker leaves that post to go to A&M. Now, I understand money is a big factor in some of this, but it might not necessarily be the money that they offered him. It's Nebraska. Is Nebraska kind of lagging in terms of keeping facilities up or money in the athletics department, or at least the structure of the athletics department? Because when I read more about it, you could see reasons why Alberts decided to leave.
I don't think it's resources. I just think it's a much better opportunity at A&M. Nebraska has basically not been the Nebraska that I grew up with Bob Devaney and Tom Osborne since they left the Big 12. Now, two items here again. When you leave a league for another league, there's two measurements. How much more money and how much better can you get on the field? They're getting a lot more money than they were getting in the prior relationship. They are not nearly what they were on the field. Sometimes the money does not translate into better football. And in many cases it doesn't, but it's a better financial cash flow situation for the athletic department. Since they left and joined the Big Ten, they have not been, and this was trending before, but it's not helped them in the least. Matter of fact, it's hurt them. They're worse as a program. Now, can Matt Rule field a pretty good-looking team here in year 2 and year 3 and perhaps look better than we've seen them? Yeah. But I think the years of those dominant type teams are gone. I don't know that you can say they will recover.
So does this deliver to A&M stability in that position that they haven't had in a while? I mean, they've lost athletic directors to LSU and now Ohio State, and now they're, taking away a homegrown guy from another big athletics department. But I would assume that this is something that, as long as he does the right job, he stays there instead of looking for other gigs.
I think it does, and I believe I saw the stat where A&M's one of maybe 6 colleges that pays their AD $2 million or more. And I believe he's going to be in that category somewhere, maybe upwards of that. I know that Greg Byrne just got a deal that's going to start paying him between 2.3 and 2.7, the AD at Alabama. And so that's rarefied there. I think Ohio State does with Ross Bjork. I think Tennessee does with Danny White. Texas Tech does, and Texas does. But it's a small fraternity, and I think he's in that category. Trev Alberts.
Yeah, Bill, we were talking the other day about some teams that have kind of fallen off, and Nebraska they had a long run right there. But going into the ACC, what about Miami? Miami didn't have much. Butch Davis, Jimmy Johnson won some titles. There was that Coker as well. Was it late 80s up into about 01, and they've kind of fallen off again. Do you see Miami ever getting back to being one of those power type teams?
They won 5 national championships from 83 to 01, which is ridiculous. I mean, that's crazy. And they did it with different coaches almost.
Mm-hmm.
They did it with various coaches, and Butch Davis, if he would have stayed, would have had one. But it's questionable. Now, they, talent-wise, guys, they're on the upswing. They've got dudes. Would I put them in my top 10? No, but I could argue they've got top 25 players, top to bottom. The problem they have is nobody, at least there's a lot of doubt that Hurricane Mario is a good either developmental coach or game day coach. And I think that's a very realistic critique, and that's what we're still trying to decide about him. That's where my doubt would be. But no, they have not been the same since Larry Coker won his national championship. He inherited that one of the best teams on paper ever, and then watched it erode to ground zero. And it has not been the same since. We're going on about 20 years.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Taylor, Willis McGahee, Clinton Portis, Andre Johnson, Santana Moss, Jonathan Vilma. They had it rocking. Hey, Bill, do you do a bracket at all? Do you got anything going for the Final Four? Who do you got cutting down the nets?
I wasn't, but then I was told a guy, good friend of the audience, put together one of those bracket challenges on ESPN, so I'm kind of trapped into doing it. I'll probably, I regret not looking harder and picking UConn last year, so I'll probably double down and pick them to win it all. I think they're probably the best performing team. I always want to pick Kentucky, but they're so bipolar. And I thought they'd probably win the SEC tournament, and they get knocked out and give up almost 100 points to A&M. So on paper, I think they're good enough, but I don't trust them.
Oh, those Kentucky fans are super nervous, but what about the Tennessee fans going into this tournament with back-to-back losses? I mean,
double-digit losses,
blew a chance to be a number 1 seed. You already have the weight of history. At least they got the AP Player of the Year, Dalton Knecht, that came out earlier today. But, I mean, you live amongst them. How are the Tennessee fans feeling going into this tournament?
Here we go again. And I don't know if you guys see this or seen me talk about it or seen it on social media, but Rick Barnes' nickname, you guys know, is regular season Rick, and he's updated the resume. I'm not kidding. Yeah, that's what it got started by a guy named Cosby Cattleman on our show, and that's his name. And he is a fantastic coach, but his postseason, they did have a Final Four with T.J. Ford at Texas, but other than that, his postseason is rotten. And he's got to do something to exorcise the demon of the name regular season Rick.
Okay, so this tournament, the second round matchup, Texas versus Tennessee. Tell me you won't at least kind of want to know what the score is of that game.
Oh, yeah. I'll be watching. But guys, here's another one. You don't think the committee pre-planned some of this stuff? Texas A&M and Nebraska are playing in the first round of the men and the women's tournament. You think that's just random? Just a roulette wheel that randomly hit?
Of course, they never worry about storylines in these games. Never.
Right.
Bill, we'll leave it there. Always appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill.
Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio joining us here on Halftime. Hey, look at this. Here's a team that's able to recruit the transfer portal and get ready for the NCAA tournament at the same time. Alabama has already landed a commitment from a Pepperdine transfer, Houston Mallette. According to 24/7 Sports, he's the number 6 ranked player in the portal already, and Alabama's got him. Alabama, though, has a coach that I think signed an extension. Very interesting things going on. 877-377-6963 on the McLarty Daniel hotline. We're into the home stretch, and Halftime is back in a moment.
You can now download our new app in the iTunes or Google Play Store. Listen anytime and
This video is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Call or text the McLarty Daniel hotline at 877-377-6963. McLarty Daniel, a vehicle for every lifestyle.
When you're looking for a new car, you want to shop for a vehicle you love with an organization you trust. You've probably heard that McLarty Daniel means making deals, but what I'm inspired by the most is that McLarty Daniel means making a difference in our community. When you buy a vehicle with McLarty Daniel, you reinvest right here in the community, in our schools, in our little leagues, in our food banks, and our people. So you're not just making a purchase, you're making a difference too. Come see us at any of our 6 locations in Northwest Arkansas.
Tommy Kraft here. When it came time for new gates and some fence repairs at my home, the Fence Man was my first call. The Fence Man does it all, from large commercial jobs to small residential repairs. Wood privacy fence, vinyl fence, commercial or residential chain link, even custom wrought iron fencing. 479-782-3936. 18 months, same as cash financing with approved credit is now available. If it involves fencing, the Fence Man does it. The Fence Man. He ain't afraid of no work. 479-782-3936.
A dandy white perch. Big old slab. C'est bon, sacalé.
One beautiful crappie.
It's a paper mouse. Some serious crappie. Nice speck.
We got crappie.
They might go by different names, but all prefer the same thing. Bobby Garland, America's favorite white perch, slab, sockeye, papermouth, crappie, speck, crappie baits.
I call it dinner.
BetOnline continues to be your number one source for all your basketball wagering needs, including pro and college hoops throughout the year. With up-to-the-minute odds, stats, and trends, you can follow your favorite team's path to the playoffs with in-game live betting, contests, and all the best player props. Experience the world's best wagering platform anytime from your desktop or mobile device. Head to BetOnline today to become part of the team. And remember to use the promo code BELIEVE for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you looking for the best Razorbacks insight and analysis?
Hell yes.
How about listening to an Arkansas football legend?
Matt Jones, all he does is make big plays.
What's the voice of the Hogs have to say?
Hey, what a great crowd last night.
Don't forget about the Omahogs.
The Hogs are going to Omaha.
Matt Jones, Chuck Barrett, and Phil Elson, the best in the business on the Hit That Line Podcast Network. Go to hitthatline.com or search Hit That Line wherever you listen to podcasts. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share.
Are you in need of a good power washing? Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash is a full-service pressure washing corporation with over 15 years of experience in the River Valley and Northwest Arkansas. Cleaning services include exterior home, fence, driveways, walkways, gutters, pool deck cleansing, and more. We remove dirt, grime, and more to give you that sparkle you desire. Call me at 479-763-5561. We're open Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Mike Jr.'s Mo Wash, one call, cleans it all.
Madonna has gone from like a virgin to like a surgeon. You can try to nip and tuck from the curse of sin, but eventually death is going to win. God will do major surgery on this sin-filled world, and when he does, people will try and hide their faces from him. Even plastic Christians won't be exempt. Look up Isaiah chapter 2 and see how the spiritual world renders this an immaterial world. I'm Pastor A from Woodland. Read about it.
Online or in the app. Walk On Sports Bistro for the win.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
We're about to wait all night. It's about to run amok. We rested enough in it anyhow. It's on. The garden starting out. Some curls her lips on a bar. I don't know dead or not.
You're listening to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones. Want to jump in the conversation? Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel hotline, 877-377-6963. Now, here's Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
At the home stretch of halftime here, Matt, do you think there could be any sort of direct correlation between Nate Oates agreeing to a contract extension to coach Alabama yesterday through 2030, and Alabama being the first team to get a player in the transfer portal right now for basketball, even though they're getting ready for the tournament?
Well, my question is, did Muss and Oates get there at the same time? Did they come in this? Who's been the most successful coach in the SEC since Nate Oates has been at Alabama? Is it Nate Oates? Is he you got Calipari, you got Ricky Barnes at Tennessee. I mean,
I think up until this year, under Muss, they've got the most wins
Arkansas
of any team
does
in the SEC.
or Alabama does. Okay, yeah,
I think Arkansas does.
Nate Oates has been up there as far as say what you want about him, but man, they've been winning a lot of games there in Alabama.
But what I'm saying is, you got a coach in Arkansas that has this level of success.
I think he has more
year.
money. I think that was the whole Grant Nelson. If you're asking to answer your question, sorry,
He has more money
because Grant Nelson was on our campus first. We obviously offered him something. He went to Alabama. They offered him more. And so whatever that is, the NIL, I think he has more of that, and I think that helps.
See, I was going to get into some of the players that might be available in the portal that could help Arkansas out. It did a good job at Whole Hog of listing some of these. But does any of that matter until there's an extension signed? That's my whole idea. That's my whole question here. You want to know that you're committing to a coach who's actually going to be there, at least for the year that you want to play there, right? But you don't have to make another choice. You don't have to say, all right, well, this guy's gone after I made a choice. I'll go play for him. But 2 weeks later, he's taking a job somewhere else. So you got to go through that whole process again. That's what was Will Rogers did this, right? Remember, for Mississippi State, takes the. He is recruited to go play at Washington for Kalen DeBoer, and then DeBoer leaves. And he decided to stay there, but nobody would have thought he did anything wrong if he decided to go play somewhere else afterwards. In this whole idea, you have a coach who obviously, in Oates, is going to be at Alabama. It has nothing to do with the level of success or the players he's coached. It's just that this kid, Millett, knows that Nate Oates is going to be there. For as long as he is there, he will be his coach. And if you have a situation at Arkansas where there is a contract extension that's not signed, that was something I asked yesterday. Like, what happens first? The extension happens before the players decide they're going to go play for you, because they want to know they're going to go play for you. But I also think you're right that money is a factor in this. It's just not the only factor.
Well, it's kind of what Danielle Musselman, what you said on the Twitter, it says Team Muss. It doesn't say Team Razorbacks. These kids are going for Team Muss. They're not going to Team Arkansas. You're right. It's the relationship with the coach. Wherever that coach goes is where that player wants to go, not necessarily. And I think 30 years ago, and I think the school might have had a little more to do with that, where I don't think the school has as much to do with it anymore. I think it is the coach and it is the relationship. It is to try to win a national title.
Yeah, it's the relationship with the coach. That's who you're looking at. You're looking at the track record of Muss getting X amount of guys to the NBA in however long. I don't think you're looking at, has Arkansas won a national championship in basketball? What does the attendance look like? The temperature of the fan base and all of that kind of stuff. Those would be smaller factors. They were much bigger factors years back. Contract extensions also were a thing 30 years ago. But the players at that point, man, transferring wasn't a thing. Like, we weren't worried about this 30 years ago because there was, you would sit for a year if you transferred. And truthfully, like, that's the wrong way to handle it. And it was also wrong to not let players leave if the coach that they committed to took a job somewhere else. So, and now the weight has shifted. Now it's the players seem to have all of the, I guess the word would be control, I think. They're the ones that get
power,
whatever. They have the power and the control.
When are you going to have a coach that he's making, let's say, $8 million a year, and he says, I'm gonna throw 2 of my $8 million into the NIL to go get the right players? You think that'll ever happen?
You got to make demands, right?
Yeah.
But you also can't tap blood out of a stone. That's the whole thing of what this Arkansas Edge is trying to do. People texted in earlier, are they advertising? They didn't see anything about it. I saw an Arkansas Edge billboard at Baum Walker. So those are not cheap. They've got one in the bullpen in left field. They're airing ads on the baseball broadcasts. They're advertising. I don't know if there's they're not passing the hat around or anything. They're not taking donations through the stands, but I'm assuming that it's pretty easy if you wanted to donate to Edge and you're there at a baseball game or a basketball game or a football game, I'll bet you there's a way to do it. Or they'll put you in touch with somebody that can talk you through how to do it.
I'm telling you, last week, I haven't seen it since last week, but I saw the 2024 ticket commercial for season tickets for the University of Arkansas, and Rocket Sanders is one of the first players on the thing. And
when did you see this?
It was last week. I brought it whenever I brought it up to you.
Yes, you did.
But I want to say McLaughlin might have been on there too, number 2 McLaughlin, but Rocket was on there, and you're just like, he's playing for South Carolina next year.
McLaughlin's a guy that I would advertise that.
Yeah, he finished at Arkansas, going to get drafted, but he will not be playing in the 2024 season for the Razorbacks for the season tickets. But yes, I see what you're saying.
Wow. I get this that's because somebody's got to make a quick edit. I don't know how to edit video very well. I'm good at editing audio. Can we make a quick edit? Can you make it look like it's Jaquindon Jackson? You know how they do that, right? I mean, I've already seen photos of what Russell Wilson looks like in a Steeler uniform, even though he's never put one on. We're able to do this. Very easy to do this. Can we maybe make Rocket look like Jaquindon Jackson for the next time this thing adds or airs?
Yeah. Did Russell Wilson? Did he look like he had lost a little weight in his new uniform, his new color? Black. They say you look slimmer in black.
It's like, who's making the decisions? Are we going with what? Are we going with Denver Russ, or are we going with Super Bowl Russ? Because this is going to portray to the rest of our fans. They're going to think this is what he looks like right now. That's exactly right. It is exactly right. I mean, you do. They did this years ago. It's like somebody would get traded in baseball, and they had to make a new baseball card of him. They would just make the hat look the color of whatever team they got traded to. But you could tell the hat didn't quite look right. The logo didn't really look right, or it didn't look like that hat was really on that guy's head. It's just a time-honored tradition. Just a lot easier way to edit things these days. 877-377-6963 for calls and texts. Scott thinks that Muss will have to rethink his approach with NIL, but I believe he will. But whose approach is it? Is it Muss's approach, or is it the amount of money that he has to work with? That's the question. Because I think a coach given a certain amount of dollar figures, like, all right, well, I can do what I can do with this. I don't know if it's like his decision as to how much money or lack of money that they're getting. It's, what are you being handed? What is your limit from the athletic department? When whomever controls the dollar figures that are coming in from Edge, football gets X amount, men's basketball gets X amount. It looks like women's basketball might get nothing. Baseball gets X amount. Coaches might ask for something, might make a demand or whatever, but they can't control the money that's coming into them.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you go find a player that you want. And in basketball, I know it's a team game, and in college even more so than in the pros. It's a team game, but you got to have some talent. You got to have some guys that can go. I mean, NBA more than any sport, even more than football. If you have the best player in the world, you're probably going to be in the NBA finals. You know, you have the best, the top 3, top 4 players in the world. And I know you could say Kobe, you can say LeBron, you just go Kevin Durant, Steph, like Kawhi Leonard. Those are the best players they're one of those guys. They're in the finals every year.
We'll wrap things up here in just a moment on halftime with the first 4 going tonight. Maybe you want to put a little money on it. Well, if you got Bet Saracen on your phone, it's right there and as easy as pie. Bet Saracen is Arkansas's favorite sports betting app. Works on your Apple iPhone. Just download it from the App Store or Google Play for any Android users. Any web browser as well will do the trick. BetSaracen.com. You can make flash bets throughout the entire basketball tournament. That's play-by-play bets. Makes it a whole different way to watch a sporting event. And remember, the Vegas odds are one thing, but you got to be there to bet those odds. Arkansas law prevents those odds and the national apps from operating in our state. So have that Bet Saracen app on your phone and stay with us as we wrap halftime up in just a moment.
Are you tired of the overcrowded fitness centers? Would you like a fitness option where you can actually work out? Then let's hang out. The Hangout is Fort Smith's newest fitness facility. It has an 8,000 square foot gym, indoor tennis, pickleball, and basketball with more sports coming soon. The Hangout offers group and individual training in the gym and boasts 3 active tennis pros to help you grow your game. Stop in today at 5400 Gary Street or thehangoutfs.com for more information. Be a part of something different. Fitness, sports, and more. Let's hang out.
Hey River Valley, this is Jackie Mock with Mock Legal Solutions. Y'all have eclipsed our expectations in supporting our law firm, and we are grateful. You blindly put your trust in us, and we are over the moon to announce our grand reopening. On March 29th from 2 to 6, drop by our office at 3401 South 79th Street. Meet Ruskin and Zach, grab a pair of free Eclipse glasses, and check out our expanded space and practice areas. Mock Legal Solutions, real advice, reasonable price.
Like an eclipse. After I drop the kids off, I have to run across town for a meeting, hit the gym during lunch. Jake has soccer tonight, and Emily has gymnastics. Oh, did I turn on the crock pot this morning?
With a never-ending to-do list, it's easy to forget something important, like setting up a life insurance plan with Shelter Insurance. Your local Shelter agent can show you how to create a safety net for your family. Shelter Life Insurance Company, Columbia, Missouri.
Call your local Shelter agent, Chris Dooley, at 479-646-6792.
Flu vaccines, both regular and high dose for seniors, are now available at Law's Drug Store in Fort Smith. Call 452-6116 to schedule your shot appointment. Usually there is no cost when covered by your insurance. Law's Drug has COVID vaccines, RSV vaccines for ages 60 plus. Pneumonia and tetanus shots are also available. Law's Drug Store, 6802 Rogers Avenue behind Outback Steakhouse. Law's Drug Store, open 6 days a week to safely care for you and your family.
Precision Overhead Door features the finest quality materials, installation, and service for all of your overhead door needs. Fully licensed and insured, with locations in Rogers and Fort Smith, serving all of Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. Give them a call today at 844-PBS-STORE or online at PrecisionDoorNWA.com. Back-to-back winners of the Best of Award, Gold Best Garage Company in Northwest Arkansas, and also winners of the River Valley Precision Overhead Door.
Do you need gutters but think they're too expensive, or that you need to get the soffit or fascia ready? No worries. Call the Gutter Guy. He does it all. No need to call multiple companies to get the right gutters for your home. Call the Gutter Guy. Quality, low maintenance, leak-free gutters with a 5-year warranty. The Gutter Guy also does vinyl siding and windows. The Gutter Guy. Over 30 years experience. Call 226-1259. Call the Gutter Guy.
Barrels and Brews Bottle Shop at the Hub in Chaffee Crossing has everything you need for your favorite activities. Our knowledgeable staff will be glad to help you with the current specials and our new arrivals of must-have bourbons and whiskeys. Hit the cooler for some of the coldest beer in town or choose from our large selection of amazing wines. Order online or call ahead Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. till 10 p.m. at the Hub in Chaffee Crossing. Barrels and Brews, voted best of the best in Fort Smith. It will put a smile on your face.
The best Tex-Mex and even better service is at Joe's Grill and Cantina in Fort Smith. Every Friday is Fajita Friday, featuring their charbroiled steak and chicken. It's tender, full of flavor, and comes with all the fixings. Saturdays are for endless enchiladas with Joe's homemade enchilada sauce and all the beef, chicken, or cheese enchiladas you can eat. Joe's Grill and Cantina. Great Tex-Mex, even better service. 3400 South 74th Street, across from Harps.
Your home for every Razorback football, basketball, and baseball game. ESPN 95.3.
Piece of silver, pretty as a diagram. Go down to the Rio, put it in my left hand, put it in the fruit machine, laughing like a seagull. You are fever, fever, you ain't born typical. You are fever, fever, you ain't born typical.
Make sure to follow Halftime on Twitter at HitThatLineAR and on Facebook and Instagram at HitThatLine. Call or text ESPN Arkansas on the McClarty Daniel Hotline, 877-377-6963. Now back to Halftime with Phil Elson and Matt Jones.
Wrapping things up here on Halftime. If you missed anything, we'll have the Halftime Eastside Liquor podcast coming up. And Ruskin and Zach will be taking you from 2 until 7 o'clock. And we got first 4 games going on tonight. We're not worried about the first 4 games, though. But you got Howard and Wagner, Virginia and Colorado State. And then tomorrow, Montana State and Grambling, Boise State and Colorado as well. I mean, sometimes these games are really entertaining and really, really good. And it's kind of cool, I think, to have it in Dayton, always. I don't know why I think it's cool, but they just seem to.
It's like Omaha. It's like they're basketball fans, right?
Yeah, but in the first round, instead of it being like the last thing, it's just odd. We never have the national championship in the same place, but you know that the first 4 games will always be played in the same place.
Well, I'm excited about I got my fighting Deron Williamses, my fighting D Wade's, my Flash Jason Terry's, and my Tennessee Allen Houston's. Those are my 4 that I got going for me in the Phil C bracket and Wolf Challenge.
Who do I have? I've got my fighting Kevin Ollie's.
Yeah.
I've got my the fighting Ken Patterson's. You guys don't know who that is. Ken Patterson pitched at Baylor and then was a major league pitcher for a long time. I had him with the Travelers as a pitching coach. So
could have went Brittany Griner as well.
The fighting Ken Patterson, the fighting Steve Shields, former UALR head coach, played golf at Baylor. So we got a few directions there.
Big Glenn Dog Robertson is there for your Boilermakers, yeah.
I got the fighting James Madison's because it's already named James Madison.
Brian Cardinal for your Purdue Boilermakers, yeah.
No, that's the fighting Conzo Martins.
Fair enough.
I remember.
No, that's.
I remember watching him at Purdue.
Brian Scalabrini's who you're thinking of. See, yeah.
So who do you have again here? See, you got
the fighting Dabo Sweeney's. The
who was you got the fighting Sean Bradley's.
Fighting Jimmer Fredette's.
And the Jimmer. I was going to go Steve Young, but Jimmer works.
The fighting who's a good Houston.
Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler,
Tremont Mark.
Tremont Mark played there.
Troy Ware or somebody that was on there? I can't remember. That Heisman QB that they had that does.
Oh, Andre Ware.
Andre Ware, yeah. And then I had the fighting
Dow Loggins.
Dow Loggins, or the fighting who's the running back?
Rocket Sanders.
Rocket Sanders, yes.
There you
or
go.
Or Trey Knox. I mean, take your pick.
Yeah.
Fighting Lou Holtz's. I mean,
ooh, there's a good one
that
right
one
there.
Fits.
Yeah.
That one fits for you perfectly, Matt, doesn't it?
I don't have Notre Dame or C bracket has South Carolina. The Wolf has he got UNC. You got Jerry Stackhouse. You got Zaga, who's Adam Morrison.
He's the guy that had that real, like the pencil thin mustache.
Oh,
right? That looked like he just started growing it.
In this 1974, he would have been really good.
And a short NBA career, if I remember, right?
Michael Jordan picked him in the first round. I don't know if it was his first overall pick that he ever was in charge of, but he was that's when he had a slew of not very good picks.
Wolf has the fighting Rex. Why am I forgetting the basketball player's name at Kentucky? Chapman, Rex Chapman.
Yeah, sexy Rexy.
He doesn't mind fighting very much.
Number 3, 4-3.
That's right. That's right. So we've got all of these things ready to go, and I guess we worry about it once the games actually do start. 'Cause to us, the first 4 isn't going to count.
1 point for each dub, 2 points for a Final Four victory, 3 points for the victory. Let's get it on.
Appreciate your calls and texts on halftime today. Thank you so much for tuning in, and make sure you stay tuned for Ruskin and Zach. So that's halftime for a Tuesday. For the Wolf, for the C bracket, and for Matt Jones, I'm Phil. Get up, get out, and get better.